All right, Steve, now we know all those dead and lovely bustas out there. Every Wednesday, they wake up, the first thing in the morning they say is, holy shit, it's new Dead and Lovely Day. I know they all do, but for myself, on Wednesdays, I get excited because it's when the new episodes of one of my favorite podcasts, This Might Get Weird, drops. It's YouTubers Grace Helbig and Mamrie Hart. And they just have a fun, funny show.
Okay.
On last week's episode of their podcast, they were talking about Crystal Light. Do you remember Crystal Light? Like all of our moms and stuff, they would have those little single-serve packs, and they just toss them into a cup of water at Shoney's or Denny's or something.
Sure.
So I had an idea, because I think that that's one of those things that has long phased out of style. I don't remember the last time I saw somebody whip open a Crystal Light, you know?
Okay.
But if they want to stay alive, if they want to stay contemporary, they need to heed the advice. This is, once again, trademark Dead and Lovely. You heard it here first. I'm here to pitch a new product to the makers of Crystal Light called Crystal Heavy. Okay? The light days are long gone. What Crystal Heavy is, it is a dehydrated, crystallized form of your favorite alcoholic beverages. Okay? And basically, it's a great way that you can have your drinks on the go as well as save money at the bars.
Right.
Are you going to be another sucker going up to the bar ordering an $8 Jack and Coke? I think not. You just go to the bar, you order a regular Coke, that's like $1. Then you reach into your pocketbook, get out a Crystal Heavy Jack and Coke, you just tip that thing into there, boom. You just saved yourself about $7 at the bar.
Okay, I'm worried you're going to lose some of the taste, but you're still going to get jacked up, so that's pretty awesome.
But with all the alcohol. Yeah, less taste, all the alcohol will be the slogan.
And now, Ben, I do not want to ruin your entire premise here, but Crystal Light is still a pretty popular beverage.
Don't worry about it. Crystal Heavy is going to absolutely blow it out of the water.
Out of the water.
And you heard it here first. Welcome to this week's installment of Dead and Lovely, the greatest sales pitch and horror movie podcast in this multiverse or the next. Here with the host with the most, it's me, your good buddy, Uncle Ben.
And me, Hollywood Steve.
And dude, I'll tell you what, this has got to be a record-breaking number of weeks in a row where everything is fine, nothing bad's happening, and everybody's doing well.
It's crazy how good things are going.
Yeah, it's insane. I've never seen such a long streak of things going well. I don't know about you, but that $1,200 that I got from the government 4 or 5 months ago, dude, it's still holding out great. You still got all yours left over?
It's not ever going to run out.
I mean, it's
we
too
bought
much.
Groceries the other day, and we spent, the average amount, $2.50.
Yeah, it barely put a dent in it.
Rent, of course, is $25 a month.
Yeah, I mean, you're covered for a couple of years at least.
Yeah, and of course we invested some. What are we, peasants?
Well, it's good to hear, Steve. I'm glad things are holding out. I'm sure everybody in America is having the same conversation right now, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Dude, I've had myself a pretty good week. I can't believe it's already Tuesday again. This week has kind of flown by, partially because our old dog went under the knife last week.
Yeah.
That old dog got fixed up. See, the problem was dog was broken.
Yep, broke dog.
Yep, I took it to the vet. I said, fixed dog.
Broke dog.
Yep, old case of broke dog. I'll tell you what, man. Fixed dog. They don't make dogs like they used to. I remember them. They used to last a really long time. You never really had to do much maintenance on them. But these dogs they're putting out these days, I'm kind of thinking about getting an import next time.
Yeah, that makes sense. You think it's like planned obsolescence?
Yeah, I think that it is.
Making dogs out of cheaper parts.
Mm-hmm. What are they making these things out of?
I don't know.
Build them out of scrap from the dog junkyard.
Yeah, we got a used German model. And she's been doing us pretty good.
Oh yeah,
she's not had any injuries, so yeah.
They're reliably built. These American dogs, questionable. Yeah, she had to have her her ACL, or rather her CCL, as it's known in the dog world, had to have that thing operated on, and they took her and did the operation. And they took a lot of our money.
Yeah.
And we've been having to help her out. She's all kind of laid up and stuff. But actually, she's kind of walking on it pretty good, honestly, which is impressive considering that, like, with a big dog like that, they don't, like, repair the torn ACL. They, like, shave down the bones so that they, like, slide together in a way that a dog doesn't even have to have an ACL anymore. Basically, whenever they do it, they also invert crosses, and they shout at the heavens that God's design was inferior.
Yep.
And science prevails. That's part of where the expense is.
Let me ask you the question on the minds of all the sports fans out there, Ben.
I'm the one to answer it.
Will she ever dunk a basketball again?
It would be a real shame if Zora lived the rest of her life without dunking on somebody.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, no, the best of her Air Bud days are still ahead of her.
Awesome. That's good. I'm glad she's going to come back next season. A little recuperation.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing. You couldn't have planned it to happen at a better time anyway, because of COVID. Dog basketball is all but canceled this year anyway.
Absolutely. Even though dogs can't get COVID, the refs have to be humans, because dogs just can't follow rules that well.
Yeah, pretty much.
So you can't get one of them to be like, okay, I'm going to keep up with the rules and also call out the other dogs when they don't follow the rules. And they can't blow the whistle.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh.
That is a real problem. I wonder what dogs are like the most notorious cheaters in the dog basketball world. I bet it's little chihuahuas and stuff, man.
Yeah, those little, it would be like, chihuahuas and Pomeranians and stuff. Yeah, because they can, like, hide easily. I mean, if you get a few Pomeranians on your team and then maybe, like, a chow, and the Pomeranians just hide in the chow, and then I don't know what how that is beneficial, but somehow it's going to help.
And then they win the game.
They win the game? Yeah, that's it.
That's it?
Pomeranian. What game were they playing again? Basketball? I don't know how that helps at all, but it's going to work out for them. And then the Chihuahua is like, all the dogs are scared of it, of course.
Oh,
so
yeah.
It just barks at them and then chews up the ball and then pisses everywhere.
That sounds about right, honestly.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, dude, since we've been home taking care of her and not really being able to go on any long walks or anything like that, we have had some time to watch some flicks this week. We actually watched quite a few flicks over the weekend. Just kind of had a little movie marathon over the weekend. We watched one of my old school favorites, That Thing You Do, which I am so happy to report still holds the fuck up.
Doing that thing you do.
Dude, there's so many Beatles like chord tricks and stuff that they snuck into that song, and the other originals in there too. They really did their research with the music and did it right. I think Howard Shore did the music for it, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think we talked about that, yeah.
Such a good movie.
I feel like you did maybe a couple of years ago rewatch this movie, or we just talked about it.
We might have just talked about it.
Maybe we talked about it sometime. Yeah, I think we talked about it maybe when we did a list of movies we've watched the most or something.
Okay, that sounds right. Yeah.
I remember us talking about it. Yeah, that's a fun movie.
Still a fun watch, man. We watched the new Charlie's Angels movie, the one that everybody got super pissed about and was so mad about. You remember
Elizabeth Banks directed?
It wasn't that bad. Like, it wasn't ungoddamn believable or anything like that, but it's a Charlie's Angels movie. It's not like
it doesn't have to be.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I remember people getting irate about it as if they took like a formerly all-man franchise and replaced it with ladies, and they were just irate about it.
A woman directed it, Ben, and you have to remember that women are held to the double standard of, one, they're not as good as men, and two, if they do something as good or on par with men, it's not good enough.
Oh, okay. That could be it.
Right.
That might have something to do with it. Also, a woman in the movie wore pants. So that is...
What? And the Charlie's Angels never wore pants. That's not a thing.
Kind of an issue. It's kind of an issue. Yeah. But otherwise, it was okay. It was all right.
Yeah, I don't remember what the controversy was, but I do remember there being a controversy around that movie.
Yeah, not really sure why.
It didn't appeal to me because I've never been interested in Charlie's Angels. I haven't even seen the 2000s ones, which I hear are good, or at least watchable.
Yeah.
So I would give it a shot, though, for sure.
Yeah, it's worth a watch. It's just a Saturday afternoon, kind of movie, I guess.
Gotcha.
My wife has also been watching the Babysitters Club series, which she says is fabulous.
Awesome.
I have not watched it. I'm unfamiliar with the source material, so I don't know if I would be an objective viewer of that. But the word on the street is the ladies love it.
Okay. The people who grew up with Babysitters Club are going to enjoy the Babysitters Club show. I gotcha.
Apparently so.
I never read a Babysitters Club book. And it probably was that, like, oh, those are for girls when I was a kid. And then, when I got past that, it's like, well, why would I go back and read a Babysitter's Club book? I'm a grown adult man. That's weird.
Kate found a podcast a couple of years ago that's like two dudes. They sound like they're around our age. They're two dudes that, like, go through and read a different Babysitter's Club book every week and talk about it. And they're always just like, man, Becky's a real bitch in this stuff. Sounds like that would be a lot of fun, honestly.
That does sound fun, yeah.
For our Docu-Monday tradition, watching a documentary every Monday, last night was my choice, and I chose Going to Pieces. It's that documentary about the rise and fall of the slasher flick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I have not seen it.
It's not very good, honestly. Like,
okay.
It's put together really badly. Like, it's just not well done.
There are a number of slasher flick documentaries that are good. So
yeah.
It seems like a pretty saturated market to enter into.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, on the bright side, it's like they interviewed all the coolest people. Like they had Miss Voorhees on there. They had Tom Savini. They had John Carpenter. It's like just the people that were in it were why you watched it, but it wasn't really put together well.
Well, and were these interviews they had gotten, or was it footage from other stuff? Like, was it the footage from the Crystal Lake memories of Miss Voorhees talking, or did they get new footage?
It's been a while since I watched it, so I can't remember with authority, but I think it was new footage because this was filmed.
So that's at least worth watching.
Yeah, I think it came out like 2005, 2006.
Okay.
Which I think would put it before Crystal Lake Memories. I might be wrong about that.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So it wasn't great. But other than that, we've been catching up on our Marvel movie watch, and you and I both are going through the entire MCU right now.
Been doing it too. Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm behind you. I think you've taken the lead now.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because I've gotten through Endgame.
Oh shit! Are you serious?
Yeah, I only have one left to go.
Holy shit, flooring it. Good God, man.
I
know. We watched Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Hell yeah.
So fun. Still really good,
yes,
man.
It is.
Like, for some reason, in my head, I was like, oh, they go to Ego and they hang out there the whole movie. And it's like, not really.
Yeah, there's a lot more going on. Yeah.
That was really good. We watched Avengers 2.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is, again, really cool. Very long movie. Very, very long.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Kind of has a sad, but some really good stuff.
It does have a lot of sad, yeah.
But I like that they kind of brought that in, where it's just like, these heroes and stuff have to deal with consequences to their actions and stuff. Yep. And they got more into that in Civil War, which was way better than I remember, dude.
Yes, it is. It's so great.
It's basically an Avengers movie. Like, I know it's Captain America Civil War, but
everybody's in it.
Yeah, and everybody gets screen time,
Mm-hmm.
I really like that one a lot. Some great action beats in there. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's real fun. The fight between Captain America, Iron Man, and Winter Soldier, where Iron Man is really trying to kill Winter Soldier.
Oh, dude,
it's brutal. Yeah, it's really good.
Really, really, really good. So you managed to blow way past me. Are there any gems that you were like, holy cow, I forgot how good this one is?
I mean, last week I'd already gotten through Black Panther, so Ant-Man and the Wasp was still as good as I remembered.
Yeah, dude, love it.
And yeah, Avengers, watching Infinity War and Endgame back to back is something I hadn't done. It's really good. It's good.
Hell yeah.
I like the way that comes together.
Oh man, I can't wait to do the same thing. That'll just be like a Saturday afternoon marathon for us, I bet.
Yeah, it's long. Yeah, it takes a while.
Like 7 hours.
Yeah, I'm excited to rewatch Spider-Man Far From Home because I've only seen it once.
Dude, so
really
awesome.
excited to see it again.
Heck yeah. How does Doctor Strange hold up? I'm stoked to watch that one again.
Oh, man. It's like they did such a good job, I think, translating such a weird book to the screen that, like, I think most people know that. Well, actually, no, that's weird. Doctor Strange is a strange character, but Doctor Strange's origin story is pretty well known if you're a comic reader.
Right.
The way they got through that so quickly and still showed like how great he was as a surgeon and what a huge loss this was that he can't use his hands now. Like,
yeah.
They do a really good job and really efficient. And then like it's just it's fun, it's funny, but it's also like a good story of a man over like losing his power and then gaining something more because of it.
Yeah, man.
It's a good story. And Benedict Cumberbatch is great.
Oh, dude, incredible casting. Really perfect casting with him. Like, one thing, speaking of origin stories that I had totally forgotten about is how Spider-Man just kind of shows up. Like, they don't really bore you with the whole, we got bitten by a radioactive spider, blah, blah, blah. It's just like, everybody fucking knows. You don't have to do it again.
Yeah, the conversation in the bedroom with Tony, there he like hints at it, and it's like, yeah, we all know. Like, everybody in the audience knows. We've seen it in comics, we've seen it in cartoons, we've seen it in 2 different movie universes. So all that Marvel had to do was just like indicate to it, and it's like, yeah, okay, yeah, and we know the entire story
for real, man. And meanwhile, like, I'm sure that the next time that we see Batman on screen in the DC universe, we're gonna see his mom and her pearls flying all over the concrete when they were killed. It's just like, God damn, dude, you don't need to give us the origin again.
I think with the Robert Pattinson project, from what I've been reading, I hope they're going a different direction with it.
I've got faith. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
Right on, man. Well, dude, I can't wait to watch through the rest of those. Have you caught any other good flicks or anything this week?
Well, here's what I have been doing, and this was inspired by the MCU chronological rewatch, is I have been chronologically watching the pay-per-views for WWE, WCW, ECW, and Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
Holy shit. Wait, so
from the 90s.
Does the WWE network even have Smoky Mountain Wrestling on it?
Yep.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so you can watch Chris Jericho and Lance Storm wrestling in Jellicoe, Tennessee.
No way.
And be like, holy shit, I could have gone to this.
That's
like,
crazy.
I remember as a kid so many times hearing about Smoky Mountain Wrestling events, and we just like, like me and my friends that all liked wrestling were just like, yeah, it's just off-brand wrestling. Like, we didn't know, because we were stupid, because we just thought wrestling began and ended with Hulk Hogan. But yeah, there's like matches with Cactus Jack and Terry Funk.
Oh my god,
came in at one. Yeah, and then also you get to see how things progressed, because you'll see Cactus Jack in like Smoky Mountain Wrestling, ECW, and WCW. Like, whoa. That was kind of how it worked back then, because there were different territories, and WWF was the first to kind of try to take all that territory and say, like, I have an exclusive contract with you, you can't wrestle with other organizations. So it's been fun, it's been interesting. I don't want to bore our fans who don't care about wrestling with too much talk about it, but it's been really cool to watch.
We're gonna see fucking reviews on Apple Podcasts tomorrow. Too much wrestling talk.
You know what? We've never gotten that.
Never gotten that, actually. Yeah.
So yeah, I a couple of people have commented on it, but not in reviews.
More wrestle talk. Maybe that's going to be the review. Is like,
more
they was talking about wrestling and they stopped.
Oh, definitely. We have had people say we should do a wrestling podcast. So, We don't have the time, but that would be fun.
But that would be fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Somewhere in a different universe, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're doing Dead and Wrastly.
Yeah, if when we were trying to come up with our concept, the WWE streaming had existed, that might have been
that
the
might
way
have
we
happened.
had gone.
Yeah, that is definitely
but
true.
That just wasn't an option a few years ago. You would have to buy all these things, pay-per-views, and or find them somewhere streaming. Yeah, crazy.
Dude, that's awesome. So, like, I'm sure that's been a lot of fun going through there, and like you said, seeing the progression and stuff.
Yeah, and seeing how like violent wrestling was in the early '90s outside of the WWF.
Oh yeah,
it was brutal.
The Wild West, man.
Yeah, I saw the pay-per-view the other day where Vader powerbombed Cactus Jack onto exposed cement floor.
Ooh. Ooh.
And I read about that in his book, and like he, Vader didn't want to do it. He was really worried about injuring him and stuff.
Aww.
And he convinced him to do it. And he knew going in, there's no way to take this bump.
No.
Like, you're getting thrown onto a concrete floor.
By Vader.
So, by Vader, yeah. By a 430-pound man who is gigantic. Yeah, and so he had a concussion, like, terrible concussion from it. But he knew that was going to happen. He was just so invested in wrestling. It's crazy to watch Mick Foley and his career develop, because he really only cared about entertaining people. That's
totally.
it.
It's crazy to watch him having not died by now.
Yes. And to, like, see him, like, you see him in interviews and stuff, and he's still very lucid. I mean, that, I don't know how long that'll last. A lot of concussions eventually will wear you down.
He'll
but
catch
he
up
still
to you.
seems very intelligent and stuff. He's I'm glad Mick Foley exists as a human, for sure.
Yeah, same, dude. You and me both, dude. Yeah, you had a little power outage situation and kind of skidded into the old streaming chat on fumes the other day, didn't you?
Dude, man. Dude, I had a couple of things. I like the day that we recorded our midsummer episode. 2 hours after that, our internet went out here, and when our internet goes out here, that means we don't have cell service either, because we have no cell service here. The only way we are able to use our phones is with Wi-Fi.
So as soon as the internet goes out, you're basically a colonial settler.
Yep, that's it.
Wow.
Yep, we started churning butter. I yoked the oxen and had already slopped the hogs by the time it came on around 6 a.m, and I was able to post the Sixth Sense episode. Then, yeah, a couple days later, power went out for several hours, and just sitting here in the dark like an asshole,
like a jerk.
It's the worst. And yeah, it was coming up right to the wire of the streaming chat, and Emily was going to work. She had to get ready for work in the dark. That was fun. Anyway, she was going to work, and I was like, when you get to work, just post something on the group and tell them, like, hey, the power's out, so they'll know what's going on. And then, like, just 10 minutes later, the power came on. So I made my wife look like a fool.
Oh, no. Look at you. Grounds for divorce.
Yep, it's beginning. She's got the papers right now. It says, reason made me look a fool.
What did y'all watch?
Oh, shit. What did we watch, Ben?
I don't know.
It wasn't good. It was about...
That's unusual.
Entity is what it was called.
What is Entity?
Well, it had some people who... the main psychic lady was in an episode of Doctor Who. So I recognized her, and it came up on a list of best free horror movies on YouTube. So I was thinking, like, maybe this will be good. I would say it's like sci-fi level production.
Ooh, very nice. Sounds expensive.
Right, but it was also like serious. So like it's like when you see that clash of cheesy production value and people trying to be serious, it's impossible to take it serious.
It's not doable.
Yeah, so it wasn't great.
Oh,
and
man.
It was slow. It was very slow burn. Very, very, very slow. But, I mean, maybe it'd be one that I would like more if it wasn't watched in the context of the Friday night, let's get drunk and watch shitty movies.
Yeah. All right, then. You catch anything else good?
No, not really. I've just been trying to get some shit done and keeping wrestling on in the background.
I like it, man. I like it.
I saw a ton of great matches, but I don't want to talk too much about it.
Well, that's because we got a lot to talk about today, because the subject of our episode is none other than Jimmy James Cameron's Terminator. And Steve, I think to kick this off here, I'm gonna whistle the theme song for us here. God, there's something going on with my whistle, Steve.
Oh no, is it? Oh, that sounds. Oh yeah, I can hear it. That's a dry whistle you got there.
Is that the problem? It's too dry?
Yep, it's too dry. It's too dry. You know what you got to do with that?
What do I do?
You got to wet it.
I got to wet my whistle?
That whistle.
What am I going to do that with?
Something wet. Maybe a beer.
A cold beer or a warm beer?
Cold beer, cold. No, cold beer, cold. Cold beer.
You
want
beer
your cold
warm?
beer to be cold. No, cold beer, cold.
Well, good thing we got ourselves a couple of buddy beers here. These are ones that were sent to us that sat down at the old Guitar Vault in Morristown, Tennessee for many moons, because I've not been teaching in person for a very long time. So I really
we'll have
do
to
hope these are still
consider
good.
that, because these are IPAs. IPAs are you're supposed to drink them,
freshy fresh,
pretty fresh. So the flavor may be muted a bit,
right?
Yeah, but I'm interested in this. Ben, I got a letter here from a feller named Chris. Sent us these beers. And also sent us these great koozies that say corporate beer is for butt chugging. Which is
put it where it belongs.
Great.
Right in your
tuchus. Put it where it belongs. So yeah. I'm excited for this. This is Ghost Town Brewing / Original Pattern Brewing Splatter Pattern IPA. So this is
Splattern.
Splattern. This is a collab between Original Pattern and Ghost Town.
All right. Did you say Planet Kolob? Is this a Mormon beer?
Yeah.
It's a Kolob.
Yeah, it's a Mormon beer. Planet Kolob.
Let's
there is
snap
Mormon
these bad
beer.
boys open here. Are they really?
I've never had any, because I think it has to be like below 4% or something.
They can have that?
Utah's got that crazy law.
I thought that Mormons couldn't have beer at all.
Mormons can't. But people in Utah aren't all Mormon. So people make beers in Utah, and they'll give them Mormon names.
Yeah.
Cutesy stuff like that.
Gotcha. Yeah, whenever I was out there a couple of years ago filming a guitar lesson thing, everywhere I went, beers were like 4 and under. It was like everything was so light, you could not get a buzz going, man.
Yeah,
if you're a
it's ridiculous.
seasoned drinker like us.
I think you have to order food with every liquor drink.
Dumb.
So that makes no sense. Yeah, anyway.
This is fragrant.
Yeah, it is. It smells like something.
It smells real hoppy.
It's hoppy as hell, yeah.
It's fun. Let's just get our lips around this thing. Let's see here. It's a 7.4 ABV. I really hope it ain't spalt. I hope it's not spalt on us, but it's got Motier and Mosaic hops. What's that do to you?
Okay, so I can taste the Mosaic like fruit punchy hop.
Oh man, that is good.
But it's also chocolatey.
It has like a little dark chocolate bitterness to it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Interesting. Man. I wonder if it's supposed to. Like, that's the thing is, like, I wonder if those flavors are supposed to be there. Either way, what bliss, because it's delicious.
Yeah, I'll tell you this, people at Ghost Town and Original Pattern, you can age that Splatter Pattern IPA, and it still tastes good.
Yeah.
It tastes, I'm getting what I would say is kind of like chocolate covered cherry, but like dark chocolate.
Yeah, and there's definitely
Not
the
like
citrusy.
a cordial cherry, not like that, like super sweetness, but like if you just like had a cherry, a nice like dark cherry, and dipped it in chocolate.
I can totally see
got that going on.
Man, that's good. I really like that, man. Yeah, because especially like, I don't know, I wasn't in the mood today for like a sweetie IPA, like something really heavy and fruity and sugary, you know?
Yeah.
I like that this has a backbone of bitterness to it.
Mm-hmm.
Just like me. That's good as hell.
Backbone of bitterness.
The old B.O.B.
Yeah.
Well, Steve, considering that the subject of today's episode is the Terminator, which is a film that deals in matters regarding time travel.
Time travel. That's the
time travel song, right?
Yeah, it's a time travel song, I guess.
Let me just put this out there to you. What do you say if before we start reviewing the movie and breaking it down, what if we give these bustas just a brief little detour into the preview palace?
Oh my gosh, guys. Quick, get into the time machine. We have to go back in time to the preview palace.
This is our idea of what time travel probably sounds like.
Yeah. So, welcome to the preview palace.
I say we give these fools a breakdown of not just our top 5. We couldn't possibly sum it up in a top 5. What about a top 6 time travel movies? What do you think about that?
Yeah, let's do it, man. I think that's a great idea.
For starters, let's go ahead and say that this list does not include Terminator 1, nor does it include Man Out of Time movies.
Yeah, we're not talking about any movies in which someone is, say, displaced in time, like Encino Man.
Yeah.
And also, we're not really going to get into time loop movies like Groundhog Day, which some have argued is its own genre. The Groundhog Day fits within perhaps sci-fi, perhaps fantasy. Like, we don't know what's causing the Groundhog Day to happen.
Right.
But we're really sticking with time travel movies, and we're not ranking them based on how accurate the time travel is. It's just on how much we like the movie.
We are seasoned time travelers. Anybody that listens to the earliest episodes of the show
That's
knows
true.
we were time travelers for a little while.
It's true. For just a little bit, we would travel the times, but then we got back with the times.
Yeah, exactly. Morris
we
Day
wanted to
and
hang
the
out with
times.
Morris Day. Yeah.
oh.
All right. And for number 6 here, I know Ben hasn't seen this, and that's why it's number 6. Because if this were my own list, I think it'd be a bit higher.
Wow.
About Time.
I don't know this movie. What is an About Time?
About Time has that Gleason boy, that Donald Gleason, the cute one they got there.
Mm-hmm, he's a hunk.
And it's also got, oh my gosh, what's her name? She's from fucking Mean Girls, and also Doctor Strange.
That girl.
Yes, goddamn it, Rachel McAdams.
Rachel McAdams
is her name. Yes. Rachel McAdams is in it.
I like this
Margot
already.
Robbie, Bill Nye.
What?
It's great. It's basically the reason I love it so much is I think a lot of us have a fantasy of time travel. Like, we just sometimes will drift off into, what if I could go back in time and change, and most of the time it's stuff in our own life. I don't think most people fantasize about going back and killing Hitler. It's really your own life you want to change, or your own life you'd like to experience again. And About Time, basically Bill Nye tells Donald Gleason that his family has this power to go into a closet and to just go back in time and basically live things over or change things or whatever. And I think the essential moral, it's a rom-com, but I think the essential moral of it is that, you can't make chance encounter happen and a lot of the best things in life are chance.
Okay.
So time travel in that sense is just not worth it.
That sounds pretty cool. I mean, that's a hell of a cast, too. I don't know how I've never even heard of this movie.
And it's also funny. You got to check it out. Yeah, Emily and I went and saw it in the theaters back in the day, and I'm a huge fan of it. I like a good number of rom-coms. I have said in the past I don't like rom-coms, but that's a lie. I'm a big fan of rom-coms with twists like that. Like I like a zom-com, like Warm Bodies. I like stuff like that. Life After Beth. I'm into those. I don't know. Just I guess the what's that Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves one where cabin.
Oh, I know the one you're talking about. Yeah. That's a time travel movie, isn't it?
That's a time travel movie, but I'm not interested in that. So I don't know. There's certain elements about rom-coms that really turn me off.
I only want to see them two if they's on a bus that's speeding down a highway.
But yeah, you really should check that out. That's a really good one.
Awesome, man. What do we got skidding in at number 5?
All right, this one was a tough one, and basically just comes down to their only relation is they both have Bruce Willis. So it's a choice between Looper or 12 Monkeys, and if I were to choose, I pick 12 Monkeys because I like the movie more.
Yeah.
But I think they're both about equal in terms of quality.
Yeah, and in terms of B-dubness. A lot of B-dub up in that flick.
A lot of B-dub in there. I think 12 Monkeys has the advantage of having Brad Pitt acting insane, which is great.
Dude, it's been so long since I watched 12 Monkeys. I remember watching it being like, this is sick as fuck.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that movie. That's one I saw in the theaters too back in the day.
Nice.
And it was, I think, the first time maybe we had seen Brad Pitt acting like that, not being pretty, I guess.
Yeah, not just being a hunk.
Yeah, and it's really good. I enjoy that. But I mean, Looper also. I mean, Joseph Gordon-Levitt is great in it. It's Ryan Johnson. So I think Ryan Johnson's a kind of divisive guy. He's kind of love it or leave it for some people. If you don't like him, you just like none of his movies are gonna hit with you.
I'm definitely on like both sides of the fence there because I really enjoyed Looper and I really hated the Star Wars flick that he did.
That's man, the more I watch Last Jedi, the more I like it.
Man, you crazy.
I'm a weirdo.
You're crazy. I guess the thing that I like so much about Looper is all the cool things they brought into there where it's like in the future you can I'm trying to remember how they did that, but there's a part where like a guy carves a message into his own arm and it appears on himself in the past and shit.
Yeah.
So cool, man. It's just a really cool premise. Cool. I remember like
it is cool.
Towards the end of the movie it gets kind of like Dragon Ball-ish where it's like this kid has powers and that probably didn't need to be there. Yeah,
there's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, still
liked it.
I think when you deal with time travel, it's always going to get messy. Like that's obvious. Like the second you introduce time travel, the question is, well, why would any of this be happening? Why wouldn't they change all of this?
Oh yeah,
So if a time travel movie doesn't exactly work in some full logic, like say for instance, I love Hot Tub Time Machine. I would have put it on this list perhaps, but definitely its logic isn't fully realized and doesn't make a lot of sense, especially with the sequel. But I still enjoy it. Back to the Future 2, Back to the Future 3. Those are like so convoluted, but it's still like I like the movies though.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, you're right. It's like there's always going to be conflicts and paradoxes and stuff with time travel movies. I don't think there's any of them that have been done that are completely watertight. Plus the fact is, we don't really know how it would actually work. So we're kind of shooting in the dark here, right?
Yeah.
Other than us, because we've done it.
All right, Ben. The coveted number 4 spot.
The one everybody wants. The one just out of bronze medal range.
Yeah, right. The one everybody wants, because then you don't get the email from Dead and Lovely asking for your address so we can send you the medal. Yeah. Because we make medals for all of these
top lists. Yeah, of course.
Every single one of them.
Wait, do people do lists and not make the medals?
That's why your podcast isn't getting listeners. Oh my
God, man. Amateur hour. I thought that was one of those things you didn't even have to, like, explain to people.
I can't purchase precious metals to send to random people who have no idea why they're getting them.
Oh, I don't have a forge in my house, and I'm unskilled in metallurgy. Oh. It's COVID. Get a hobby.
For real. Anyway, so there are several comic book movies that have dealt with time travel.
Totally.
So we had to pick one, and I think Days of Future Past.
I think that's the one. Yeah,
does a great job with it. It's because like that storyline was one I'd always wanted to see put to film, but also I think they did a good job with it. I think so too. Yeah, I think they made that movie the best way they could, and showing the two separate timelines happening simultaneously is
very cool.
I like the way they did that. That was cool.
And I know a lot of people out there are probably like mad that we didn't choose Endgame, considering Endgame has time travel.
Yeah, and Endgame's a great choice.
Oh yeah, it is.
It's not really about the time travel.
Exactly, and to me too. Like with Endgame, the thing about it is like, you have to watch 80 other movies for that to make sense.
Yep.
Whereas Days of Future Past is just kind of a standalone movie that works on its own.
Yeah, even if you hadn't seen Hugh Jackman playing Wolverine up to that point, like you get enough of his background and story for you could just drop into Days of Future Past and watch that as a movie.
Totally.
And not be invested in all the characters.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are tons of characters introduced in that nobody had been introduced to up to that movie, except in the comics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of great casting and stuff in there too, man. I love old, what's her name from Juno is like Kitty Pryde, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. She's awesome.
Yeah, Ellen Page. Yeah,
Ellen Page, there you go.
Yeah, she plays Kitty Pryde in the X3 as well, which is not good.
Woof. Dude, that movie. I still haven't watched that Dark Phoenix yet. I think it's free on Hulu, and it's kind of been calling my name where it's just like, just go ahead and watch this shit. I've heard that it is a festering pile of garbage, though.
I have too. I'm not that interested. I think it's a shame because Sophie Turner, I think, is
great
good casting
as Jean Grey.
Yeah.
Oh my God, young Jean Grey, she's perfect.
Yeah, I just, they're just not giving them anything to work with those stories. But it's not a big deal anymore because now Marvel owns X-Men, and we'll see what they do with it.
And Alien and Predator, right?
Yes. So Ben, I hope this happens. Now that they bought Alien and Predator, I want Alien versus Predator on Venom's home planet.
Oh,
and I want an alien and a Predator to get the symbiote fighting each other.
I am so rigid right now. I have basically become a tripod.
That would be so awesome.
I
would love that if they might keep with what Sony did with Venom for the MCU. They've talked about it. If they were to do Venom 2 in the MCU and then announce Venom versus Alien versus Predator, that would blow my mind.
Could you imagine the Venom symbiote on a Predator?
Yes, it would be awesome.
Fuck, man.
Oh my God, because all their minds think about is the hunt. And the symbiote would just corrupt that. It would be so awesome.
Oh my God, man. Yeah, that would be fucking amazing. I would be very, very on board. Or even just like a Guardians of the Galaxy versus Alien. Like, how fun would that be?
Oh my God, dude. Yeah. Because, they'd be making jokes and then also acid to faces and stuff.
Yeah. I think you could get like a chest burster coming out of Groot, and only then, maybe if you're going with like Alien 3 rules where it impersonates what it impregnates, you'd get like a little wood alien or a little raccoon alien.
Oh, that would be adorable.
It would be adorable. Oh my God, man. Or like
want an adorable wood alien.
What if Batista got it and it came out and it's like it's Drax, but it's like all completely logical and stoic?
Oh no.
That'd be awesome.
Oh no. That's kind of what he is. So
yeah. Oh, P.S. I meant to mention this too when I was talking about Guardians earlier. Guardians 2, dude, Batista is so fucking good in it. He is so good.
Yes, he is.
All the stuff with him and Mantis. He's a great actor. I think he's fucking perfect for that.
Yeah, he does a really great job, because they had already resolved his like emotional arc in the first one, to be able to still shine in the second one. It's definitely Batista bringing life to the character, because like, you know, he's in there, he's joking around with Mantis, but he's the one who makes that work and makes it like, he's so good.
Yeah, he's great, man. Yeah, Days of Future Past, I want to watch it again, because I remember that's one of those ones that when I saw it in the theater, I was like, they actually kind of got this right. And it had a great look about it, and the time travel stuff was fun, so I think it's definitely earned a spot on this list.
Hell yeah. Then, number 3, now
Bronze medal.
We're getting into obvious territory here.
Yeah, there's got to be some gimmies here. Of course it's Back to the Future. And a lot of people are mad that's not number 1, I know.
Well, yeah, and you could definitely argue it should be number 1, maybe. But I would say number 3. I think it works really well. It's really good. I've rewatched it recently and still enjoy it.
Still so fun, man.
Yeah, it's really fun. I mean, I think a lot of maybe the enjoyment may be nostalgia, but I think it's also one of those 80s movies that was made with the perfect combination of music and action and stuff that it probably still works with kids today.
I think so. And if anybody's going to get really mad about it that it's only in at number 3, I'll fall on that grenade, because I am a late in life Back to the Future fan. I never saw this movie until I think I was probably in my 30s. Like, okay. I really had never fucking seen this movie before until then.
Was an absolute obsession for me as a kid.
Wow, yeah.
I remember watching the movies just so much. But I also recognize that the two above it I enjoy more. And
yeah.
They don't bring me back to when I was a kid necessarily. Well, actually, number 1 does. It's not necessarily about bringing me back to when I was a kid, but the Back to the Future, the way that now as an adult looking at 2 and 3 and being like, these aren't great. They don't work the way the first one does, and the first one still has, you know, it has some issues. It's still funny. A lot of corny jokes in there, but still funny. But it's not as good as our numero dos bin.
I don't think so, because what's sliding in at number 2, getting that silver medal spot?
Army of Darkness.
Army of fucking Darkness. Holy shit, man. Which, you know, if you've listened to the podcast, you've heard our episode that we did. I think it was last year, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe earlier this year.
It was earlier this year, I think. Yeah.
On Army of Darkness, which that was the first time that I had watched that. I mean, I was talking about being a late bloomer to Back to the Future, but I'm a super late bloomer to Army of Darkness, because I saw that for the first time when I was 35 and had already watched the first 2 a million times. Army of Darkness is such a fucking delight. Like,
yes, it is.
Whenever I watched that for the first time earlier this year, I was like, I know that this is one of those ones that has a cult following, and it's one that a lot of us saw when we were kids or teenagers, and so we've grown up with it, so you get the nostalgia thing. So maybe this is going to be kind of lost on me, and I'm going to be the Debbie Downer at the end of the episode that's like, it's like a 4. But I fucking loved it. It's enjoyable every second of the entire movie. There is no part in there where you're not having fun.
Yeah, it's great. I absolutely love it. Bruce Campbell's amazing. He plays a million different roles in it. He's so awesome. And it's funny and silly and ridiculous, and also just one of those movies that is fun the whole time.
Totally, dude. And the special effects in it are so well done, and in the name of maximum silliness for the majority of the time.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And Bruce Campbell in that basically just is a cartoon character. Like, it is Bruce at his maximum Bruceiest.
Yeah, it's such a fun time, and such a great addition to the lore about Ash.
Yeah, totally.
To see him just, you know, he's gone full crazy from dealing with demons 2 nights in a row, and then also has chopped off his arm and replaced it with a chainsaw, and is now amongst savages with a gun. it's great. I mean, it's just fun to see Bruce Campbell hamming it up in a movie that's just really well constructed.
Yeah, totally agree, man. Never a dull moment. I'll rewatch that one a million more times. So I think it definitely deserves that number 2 spot on our list.
Well, I mean, Ben, number 1 is, I mean, people probably already figured it out, right?
Surely you've got to know that Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban was going to come in at number 1. Duh.
Take that. It's Hot Tub Time Machine. I was lying earlier when I said it wasn't on the list.
Oh!
Boom. Terminator 2.
Does it get any better than
No.
Terminator 2? You've got Jimmy
doesn't.
James Cameron in his prime. You've got Budnick. You've got Guns N'
man.
Roses.
You do. You got all that stuff. You got Linda Hamilton in just like don't give a fuck,
Dude.
badass, stripped down to the bone.
She looks like she could just beat an ass. Like anywhere she's going, if there's an ass in front of her, she is just beating the hell out of that
ass.
thing. Beating the tar out of that ass.
Yeah, Robert Patrick as the T-1000.
Menacing. Menacing. Dude, I'm telling you, I rewatched it last night. I watched T2 again last night.
Me too.
And I was like, maybe this isn't as good as I remember. No, it's every bit as good as you remember. And dude, I'll tell you this too, man. I know that whenever we talk about T2, everybody talks about Budnick and Linda Hamilton and stuff, but man, Robert Patrick, that's his name, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think he is extremely underrated in the movie because his character of T-1000 is so menacing and cold, and he just looks like any other normal police officer that you might meet. Like, that's the thing. Like, Arnie, and we'll talk about him as we get into the movie review, you look at that guy and you're like, he's a fucking killing machine, you know? He doesn't even look human. He's
gigantic.
Ginormous. He looks like a fucking action figure.
He's much
Robert Patrick
smaller,
doesn't.
actually. Yeah, Robert Patrick looks like just a regular dude. And that actually was the original idea for the Terminator, for him to just look like a regular dude. And they ended up going with Schwarzenegger.
Oh.
And because of that, though, like, whenever I see the robot without the flesh on it, I'm like, how would that have been a normal-sized dude? If you were to put flesh over that, it's a bodybuilder. It's a gigantic man. It is not a normal-sized dude.
No, now that you mention it, no.
Yeah.
Huh.
Anyway, but Arnold is great in T2. He's
awesome.
He's great in Terminator and great in Terminator 2, and he's playing 2 different roles. He's playing the stalker slasher type villain in the first, and then the my buddy robot hero in the second.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, he does a great job though. I really I'm glad they went with Arnold Schwarzenegger. But T2 I think it's not obvious. People would definitely be debating this. Some people would say, why wouldn't you say Source Code? Why wouldn't you say any number of other great time travel movies?
Sliding Doors.
Sliding Doors. It's kind
of an alternate
realities.
movie.
Yeah, that's also always like when you talk about time travel movies. It's like you got to parse exactly what you mean, because there's so many versions of what could be considered time travel. Yeah. Anyway, T2, awesome.
Fucking great, man. And dude, the special effects and everything in there are just unbelievable. And still hold up. I mean, some of the CGI metal guy is, it looks like it was CGI in the 90s, but it still looks better than a lot of the CGI I've seen in the 2000s.
Yes. Yeah, it does. I didn't have any problem with it rewatching it. I was like, like some of the scenes, it's like, that looks kind of PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
But he's also a metal alloy in those moments, and it's like, what would that look like in reality?
Right? Considering something that you've never seen, it's kind of like, well, maybe it would look like that.
Yeah. So, I don't have any problem. I mean, because, like, we talked, we'll talk about it in a second, about the special effects in this one, but the special effects in T2, looking back on them, it's like, holy crap. I can't believe they did this in 91.
Dude, it's absolutely wild. Like all of the action beats in that, the pacing of that movie, the comedic elements, oh my god, the character development, everything. It is a nearly perfect movie in my opinion. So I think it rightfully sits on the throne at numero uno.
Yep, I agree.
But I'm sure that other people out there disagree with this. So you guys be sure to join up on the Facebook group that we've got going on over there. Just go to Facebook, look up Dead and Lovely.
/Dead and Lovely.
You're going to find us. Join up in that group. Get to talking at us about your favorite time travel movies. And just hang out there and enjoy the good hangs. There's all kinds of cool folks. All the coolest kids are doing it. You want to be cool, don't you? Be somebody, baby. Be somebody. Join the Facebook group.
That's right.
And also, too, if you want to be somebody that's extremely fucking cool, you can consider supporting our show on Patreon.
And after you consider it, you should go over and do it. Patreon.com/Dead and Lovely. I assume the week that this comes out, there will be a Patreon episode.
Yeah,
so,
exclusive, just for the cool kids.
We'll have to figure out when to record that.
We will. Now that you mention it, yes, we will. But it will be done.
It will happen. Sure. So yeah, join at least at the $1 level and you get that. Join at the $5 level and you get to submit a movie. And we do a random drawing every month. Just recently we did that movie, Midsummer.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yeah. So
join up
head
today.
on over to there and money us, please.
Money us, please. I like that. I'm totally stealing that. That's good. All right, Steve, the subject of our show today is Terminator from 1984, the year where incredible legendary movies were released for an entire year. It's ridiculous. If you look at the movies that came out in 84, it's like every month there was some kind of legendary flick coming out, whether that's Beverly Hills Cop or Nightmare on Elm Street or Gremlins, Karate Kid.
Beverly Hills Cop, still good. I watched it not long ago. Nightmare on Elm Street, still good.
Hell yeah.
Karate Kid, you know, the major starring element of Karate Kid is just how good, what was
Pat Morita.
Pat Morita. Just how good Pat Morita is, and that you don't remember this from childhood, but the story of Karate Kid is about Pat Morita getting over the death of his wife in a Japanese internment camp.
Are you sure? I thought it was about a crane kick and sweeping the leg, Johnny, and stuff like that. Are you sure about that?
I'm sure about that. Go watch the Community episode of season 6 with Jason Mantzoukas, where he is directing a play adaptation of Karate Kid.
What?
Yeah, you got to see it. It's hilarious. And,
oh my god!
It's a good argument. If you rewatch Karate Kid, it's like, holy shit, this is way more emotional and adult than I remember.
Holy moly, dude. That's crazy. I got to rewatch it with that in mind then, huh?
Yeah. But yeah, 84, crazy year. But
big
the thing
year.
is, none of those movies were like big movies. These were all like, oh, what? That made tons of money? Nightmare on Elm Street, like we've talked about it, that made New Line Cinema. It was a half-court shot by New Line Cinema that went in. Like, Terminator, this is made by nobody. Like, he sold the script to Gale Ann Hurd for $1.
Jesus,
he was living on couches. He had fired his agent. He was living on couches. Like, this is not James Cameron. This is just James Cameron. This is some dude.
Yeah, lowercase James Cameron. Now he's definitely all caps James Cameron.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I mean, we look at the budget of the Terminator, $6.4 million. That's not a big budget. Like, I looked at the budgets of other big movies around this time that used a lot of special effects. Blade Runner, a few years before, $30 million budget.
Whoa.
Return of the Jedi, $32.5 million.
Oh, and these are like serious sci-fi flicks that need a lot of special effects stuff.
Yeah. Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom, $28 million. Ghostbusters, around $30 million.
Whoa.
So these are the movies with the huge special effects that this is competing with, and they did it on a $6 million budget.
Yeah, they did it for like a fifth of the budget and made a legendary sci-fi flick that has incredible special effects and stuff in it.
Yep. So
wow.
this is a movie among those others that you just named from 1984 that wasn't expected to be what it was, and then it just really hit. I mean, this made James Cameron's career. It basically cemented Arnold Schwarzenegger's career, because he'd already done Conan the Barbarian and Conan the Destroyer. So he was a little famous among the nerds that loved those movies, which is most of us that grew up around that time.
Totally,
yeah. But this movie was what like vaulted him into the public spotlight. So this movie, we look back and see it as legendary. When it was coming out, it was like, I hope this makes its money back.
Wow, man. That's crazy. It's like they totally had no idea that they were making what would become a multi-billion-dollar franchise that would spawn video games, action figures.
Yeah.
Wow, man.
It's crazy.
Damn, that's crazy. And it was based on a dream that James Cameron had while he was suffering from food poisoning and a brain-boiling fever.
Yeah. Yeah, while he was shooting Piranha 2, The Spawning, his first directorial
which he's kind of like written off, right?
Yeah, he replaced the original director on that, and the reason the original director was replaced was because the producer was micromanaging everything. So James Cameron kind of says, yeah, my name's on it, but it was that producer who was making all the decisions. So
wow.
He doesn't consider it his directorial debut.
And he had a dream where there was a metal skeleton with like knives in its hand that was crawling through fire and explosions coming after him. He woke up from that dream and apparently was just like, well, I guess that's my movie. But the thing about it is that it's kind of been debated if he lifted some of these ideas from some episodes of The Outer Limits.
Yeah, Harlan Ellison episodes specifically, but one in particular, Soldier, is it's about these two soldiers in the future who are fighting each other on a battlefield, and then through some random time vortex thing get sent back to 1964, which is when the episode came out, and are essentially they have been trained to hate each other and kill each other, and this one of them gets basically imprisoned or maybe saved by this philologist guy who basically teaches him that he doesn't have to kill and he doesn't have to hate. But then the end of the episode is the other guy comes in, and the guy who has learned that he doesn't have to kill that guy and doesn't have to hate that guy now has to make the choice of whether or not to kill him. And then he does kill him, and then the question, I guess, at the end is, did he kill him because he was trained to kill him, or did he kill him because he was trying to protect the people who had trained him not to kill him?
That doesn't sound very similar to the Terminator, Steve.
Yeah, it's not that similar. But the setup is somewhat similar. Two people on opposite sides of war sent back in time. That's not too
really
similar.
The same.
Yeah,
really.
James, they settled. Orion settled, and basically James Cameron has said that his manager and accountant said, you don't have the money to fight this, because this was not long after Terminator. Again, as I said, he was sleeping on couches before this, and of course, as I said, the budget was $6.2 million. He didn't get paid millions of dollars to direct it, so they basically told him, you don't have the money to fight this. So Orion settled, but he has since said that it's bullshit and they shouldn't have settled, and that he didn't lift it from those things. So whether or not he did or didn't, he's very adamant he didn't. I don't think Harlan Ellison would have sought out a lawsuit, but we know how people's lawyers can be, for sure. Like,
let's kill all the lawyers. Kill them tonight, Steve. The Eagles. You know what I'm talking about. Get over it.
They're definitely going to get paid if they're going to court. So they're looking for things to take people to court about.
That's true.
So I don't know if we can blame Harlan Ellison or anything, but definitely James Cameron says that he didn't lift it. And yeah, I think you're right. Like, that's just so vaguely, barely similar as just a premise, not even the plot. Like,
yeah.
It would be like saying anytime two people wish they had the other person's life that you were somehow stealing from a movie. It's like, yeah, a million movies do that. That's the thing. It's like, what? I don't know. Intellectual property is always going to be a touchy subject, because when you do actually come up with an original premise, it sucks to see other people get more success off of that premise. But it's also like, you don't own the premise just because you were the one who put words to it.
Hey, I'll tell you what, though. I watched that there Jiro Dreams of Sushi, that documentary about that sushi chef in Japan.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about?
I heard about him. Mm-hmm.
I seen that, and the whole time, all I was thinking is this fella just got that idea from watching Smeagol eat them raw fish in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, so we can completely forget about any sushi he makes because he stole it from Smeagol.
It's just a ripoff. Smeagol had the original recipe. Come on, get with it.
He had them original herbs and spices you put on a sushi.
Uh-huh. Raw and squiggling. Mm-hmm. So when was the first time that you watched this movie? Considering it came out in 84,
As a kid.
I imagine, yeah, you saw it early, didn't you?
Yeah, 84 probably. Whenever it came out on VHS, because my uncle worked at Radio Shack and would get like super cheap deals for my dad. And so we had a VCR whenever I was young, and my dad, there was a place where he would go get videos. I don't remember if he bought them or what. I guess he did, because we watched those movies over and over. But yeah, like, I remember watching Terminator at home, and it's one of those movies, because like I was obsessed with Arnold as a kid. Predator, Running Man,
Commando,
Terminator, Commando, all those movies were in heavy rotation for me. So I've seen this movie a million times.
Yeah, you did like it as a kid, though?
Yes, I loved it. Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Dude, like, the thing with me is I'm trying to clearly remember if I saw this movie before or after T2. There's a couple of movies, like, from our childhoods that we all watched in the wrong order. Like, I think that we all watched, like, Thunderdome and, like, Road Warrior before we watched the original Mad Max for whatever fucking reason. Probably just one got syndicated first, I guess.
I think I think it was available on VHS before the original. Because like companies weren't pushing out their back catalogs.
That
first.
Makes sense.
So they were only pushing out the movies that had just come out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
So I think maybe we had seen some of those more often than others because they were more readily available.
Well, either way, I remember when I was a kid, and in when did T2 come out? Was that 91 or 92?
91.
91. So that came out, I was 6 or 7 years old, and I actually had some Terminator toys. I remember watching like the advertisements for the movie and the video game and stuff, and I got some of the action figures, which were, of course, fucking badass. They look so cool.
Yeah.
Even though I hadn't seen the movie and was definitely not allowed to see that movie until then. So it was one of those deals, kind of like my relationship with Alien, where I also had the Alien action figures as a kid, but I had never seen the movie. So all I had to go off of was my imagination of those action figures and the movie box at Video West.
Okay.
To imagine what the movie could have been like.
Boy,
you know?
I wish you had written that down as a child in script form and we could all read it.
Yeah, or just make that movie.
Yeah.
It'd have been sick as fuck, man. So I had the toys as a kid, and then I think that I saw the Terminator 2 and Terminator 1, I think when I was in my late teens or 20s and started watching movies with Kate's family and stuff.
Okay.
And again, I feel like I watched T2 first, and that made me be like, oh my God, we got to go back and watch part 1 now. Because I remember thinking that part 1 was like way darker, grittier, more serious than I was expecting, and I was surprised that Arnie was like the bad guy in it. So that lets me know that I think my impressions is that Arnie was always the good guy, you know?
Yeah, that is pretty much true too in his career. He's almost always been the good guy.
Yeah,
This movie is different for him. It has to be easier that he has to just not make an expression. Like,
yeah, right.
Though,
but it's funny because that can be hard.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Though, knowing what we know about Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's a jokey type of guy. He's always laughing and having a good time. So that might have been really, really hard for him. I know he avoided Michael Biehn and Linda Hamilton on set because he didn't want to get like jokey with them and then have trouble in the scenes being serious.
Ruin the tension. Yeah.
Wow. So I can't think of another time that he's been the villain. Has he been the hero basically since after this movie?
Dude, honestly, I'm trying to think right now of any time that he has been a bad guy since then.
I can't really think of any. I'm pretty sure he's like Tom Hanks. He's pretty much always the good guy. I think Tom Hanks has never played a bad guy, right? He played a hitman, but he wasn't a bad guy.
I think that's right.
Right.
That sounds about right to me, yeah. And this movie really put Arnold on the map because, I mean, obviously before this he had been fucking Mr. Universe and stuff and had been in Conan, like you said, right?
Dude, let me tell you a little bit about, because I researched Arnold Schwarzenegger because I was like, man, this guy is interesting, and I've never really looked into, because like I knew he was a bodybuilder, I knew he was from Austria, and I knew he's Republican, but also like pro-environment, and like he's pro a whole bunch of stuff that Republicans aren't. So I was trying to understand where this guy came from, and basically what I learned was his dad was a Nazi.
Whoa!
Yeah, his dad was a Nazi. That apparently he's paid to have a bunch of like research done into his dad's military service, and they have found that he was not involved in any war crimes. So that's good.
Wow.
But he was very...
I mean, it's still very, very bad. It's very, very bad.
Yeah. So apparently his dad was a very severe guy and didn't really care about people's feelings, and was apparently he has reported child abuse, but every time he talks about it he says that's just the way it was in Austria at the time. And I think maybe he's trying to, a lot of people survived that don't want to admit that they were a victim. So but he's definitely he had a real rough childhood, but
damn.
At 14, he decided to go into weightlifting and started lifting weights and saw that as his way. His dream since he was a kid was to get to America. So he did some bodybuilding for a while, and in 1968 moved to Los Angeles, started working out at what would become Gold's Gym. And he and the guy who plays the future Terminator that we see in Kyle's dream sequence, what is his name? Fuck. Franco Columbu. And Franco Columbu, who were both weightlifters and bodybuilders, started a bricklaying business together, which apparently was making him pretty good money along with his bodybuilding winnings and stuff. And he also started acting. I didn't know this, but he had started acting in 60 or 70. So he appeared in a couple things and actually was nominated for a Golden Globe for one thing he was in.
What the heck?
Yeah, I did not know these things, but yeah, he was nominated for a Golden Globe for Stay Hungry.
See, I thought that, like, what is it, Hercules Comes to New York or whatever was like his first thing, but I guess that was his first like speaking role or some shit, right? Well,
no, that is his first role for sure.
Okay,
Stay Hungry came a year after or 2 years after. But yeah, Hercules in New York, where they had to replace his voice because his English was just unintelligible. He didn't know English when he came to America, by the way.
Wow. That is really inspiring, though, just to hear where he came from and then see where it led him even politically,
Well, yeah, I also found out why he became Republican. Apparently, he really hated the socialism in Austria, which was not well what do you do? Managed.
Well thought out, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't well managed. He hated the socialism. He got here, he heard Nixon talking, and he asked his friend, like, what party that guy was, because he was agreeing with the things Nixon was saying that were about how socialism sucked because of his experience with bad socialism. And they told him he was Republican, so he said, okay, I'm a Republican.
That's me now.
Despite the fact that so many of his policies aren't Republican, he has maintained he is a Republican and was a Republican governor of California.
All right, then.
All right, so whatever. Anyway, he's an interesting fellow.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And he is absolutely unbelievable in this movie, dude. Like, whenever he hits the scene and he shows up in his little teleportation ball, and he's kind of in that, like, kneeling pose, and then when he, like, walks up to the punks and stuff, and you really see his physique, like, he doesn't look real. Like, you see that, and you're like, that doesn't look like a human being. Like, a human being can't have shoulders that wide and a waist that small and just be covered in muscle like that.
I think he is a good bit bigger in this than he is in T2.
I thought so too.
It was jarring to see the difference to me. Like, because he's gigantic still in T2. He's a big man. But, he's just huge in this. And that's actually what I'm saying. What I was saying about the using a smaller guy as the T-800 just doesn't make sense to me. Because, like, it really does look like you have stretched human skin over this hulking robotic form.
Yeah, killing machine, robo-skeleton, invulnerable entity.
Absolutely. He's very intimidating in this. And then also, maintaining that just blank expression. Very much
that lack of emotion.
This is all very much drawing off of Halloween, which was a big inspiration to James Cameron, who was inspired by John Carpenter in general and had worked with John Carpenter on what was that movie he did with John Carpenter? He worked on Rock and Roll High School as a production assistant, then worked for Roger Corman. He did special effects on Escape from New York.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. James Cameron has had an interesting career.
Word. That's crazy.
Yeah,
he seems like one of those guys that really does know kind of everything there is to know about filmmaking.
He's done so many of the different jobs on the film set leading up to directing this movie that he has a reputation for being kind of a tyrant on the set because he has a very specific vision. I get that. I think it's awesome that he has that vision. You can be nice, though.
You can be nice. It's one of those things that it's got to be hard being behind the camera and looking at lighting and being like, I could have done that better, looking at makeup and being like, I could have done that better. Like, it's got to be frustrating. It's lonely at the top, right?
Yeah. Listen, at the end of the day, I think
you don't have to be a
like,
dick.
Right, yeah. It's like what you have to learn, say, if you're the person making Thanksgiving dinner, what you have to learn is to let go of some things. Yeah. Like, say if somebody is bringing a certain dish and you'd probably make it better. It's like, whatever. Those are the mashed potatoes we're going to have. Like, maybe I could make this perfect, but it's easier if we just accept what we get. Yeah. Because it's a whole lot of fucking work to do. So maybe we delegate and we don't get exactly what we want, and maybe we get surprised by something even better than what we thought we wanted.
Sometimes that can happen. Yeah. It's true. So get with it, James. We know you're listening. Be nice.
He does listen. Every week I get an email from James Cameron. Outstanding episode, boys. It says every time.
Needed more wrestling talk, he says.
More wrestling talk. And then also, hey, would you guys like a check? And I'm always like, we can't be bought by these James Cameron types.
We don't need your handouts.
That's what we say.
James Cameron. Wow, man. Yeah,
So,
dude,
yeah,
Arnold in this is one of those surprising roles too, because he was, I guess, not the first choice. There was also talks of other people potentially being the Terminator himself, including one O.J. Simpson, who they changed their mind on because they said he wasn't believable enough as a killer.
I mean, that's true, honestly. Like,
when you watch him in Naked Gun and stuff, he is just like such a fun, goofy guy that at the time it would have been really weird to see him in a movie like this.
It was really weird when he was on trial for murder. I remember it very vividly, being like, Nord,
this isn't normal.
What is going on?
Yeah.
Yeah, they considered, they considered some smaller dudes, because this is also inspired by Mad Max, specifically Mad Max 2, but Mel Gibson was considered.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Then also Jürgen Prochnow, who plays...
I know that name.
Yeah, he plays the guy in the painting in Ghostbusters 2.
That's
Vigo,
right.
the Carpathian.
Uh-huh. Seriously? He was up for this?
Yeah, he was considered, and Sylvester Stallone was considered.
I'm really glad they didn't go that route.
I agree. I'm glad they didn't go that route. It is interesting, though. It seems like this kind of led to James Cameron co-writing Rambo First Blood Part 2.
Really?
Which is something he also worked on around the time he did Terminator.
Well, shit, man.
He's all over the place. He's a busy guy. Sylvester Stallone seems to have his name on every screenplay for every movie he does, so I don't know how much James Cameron co-wrote the script or how much he just wrote the script.
I bet there's more to it. I bet that Stallone's got a P-tape of Cameron. He's like, hey, you don't consider me for the movie, I'm going to release this P-tape of you.
You got to cup the balls and work the shaft.
Exactly.
Look up
that's
look up Sylvester Stallone cup the balls. Just look it up.
Just Google it. Private window. Private window.
Oh no, you won't find a video or anything, but you will find a story about it that is very funny.
That's awesome, man. But yeah, man, it's crazy to think that this movie could have existed without Arnold. Like Terminator without Arnold is one of those things that just doesn't compute in my mind.
Yeah. No, I envisioned all of those people in the role, and it was just like, no, they would not work. Mel Gibson wouldn't work at all. I don't think.
No.
Sylvester Stallone, no. He draws too much attention to himself. Like,
Yep. So this movie is also rounded out by a bunch of other fucking awesome actors and actresses. We got Linda Hamilton in this. I think that this also put her on the map, didn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, she did Children of the Corn the year before this, which was a pretty big, because it was a Stephen King thing. Stephen King was huge. Man, that movie's just so bad to me.
It's not good.
It's not
very good, man.
Not very good. But yeah, Linda Hamilton, she kind of was made by this. She's had tons of roles since then. She's played Sarah Connor several times. So, yeah. And who else is in this that maybe was made? I mean, Lance Hendrickson.
Oh, Lance Hendrickson! I forgot he was in this.
And then after this, he does Aliens, Near Dark, so much stuff. So, yeah, this is big for
Pumpkinhead.
Pumpkinhead, right? This is big for a number of the actors in it because, again, it's just so low key, and then it comes out and people just loved it. Like, this is a great theater movie for sure.
Oh my god, dude. And I totally forgot that Lance Hendrickson was in this. Like, he shows up on screen and I was like, what the fuck is he doing in this movie? And it's also crazy too to look at him in this versus him in Near Dark and see how much different he looks. Like, he looks kind of healthy in this movie.
Yeah.
And in Near Dark he looks like he's on death's door in that movie.
Yeah. So Lance Hendrickson was the OG Terminator. So whenever James Cameron went to pitch Terminator to Orion, he sent Lance Hendrickson in as the Terminator ahead of him. Yeah. So Lance Hendrickson kicked the door in and walking in like faceless, just expressionless face, and then just sat down. And then James Cameron came in.
Fuck?
Yeah. James
it's
Cameron
so weird
knows
that you say
spectacle.
That, though.
Yeah.
Because like in my head, I'm going, he could have played a great cyborg. Like he could have played T-1000 and T2 or something. Because he has such a weird look to him.
He plays Bishop in Aliens. Like,
there you go. Yeah, he got to be a robot after all.
James Cameron would have loved, I'm sure, to give Lance Hendrickson the role, but it just wasn't. I mean, they weren't gonna sign on with an unknown guy in the main role.
Wow.
And Arnold was hot. James Cameron was not interested in Arnold, and Arnold also originally read for the Kyle Reese role.
No way.
Yeah. So James Cameron said that he was so set against Arnold that he planned, when he was supposed to meet with Arnold, to start a fight with him so he could say that he couldn't work with him.
What a great idea for James Cameron to start a fight against Arnold Schwarzenegger in his fucking prime. That lets you know how not level-headed James Cameron is.
Right, exactly. So, anyway, James Cameron was, because Arnold is extremely charming, he'd expected him to be a dumb meathead. He was immediately charmed by him and got turned around.
Wow.
What's interesting, though, is Michael Biehn and Arnold were both very hesitant about the movie, and both thought, like, Michael Biehn didn't think it was gonna be anything, and he wanted to be a serious actor, so he was a little worried about it. And then he met
being in a sci-fi horror film.
Yeah, you can absolutely see how this hurts your career. But
from the guy that did Piranha 2.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He met James Cameron and was just like, oh, this guy's the real deal. Arnold Schwarzenegger took him a little bit longer to come around, apparently, because he had been cast to play the T-800, and then the people who made Conan exercised the option in his contract for a sequel. So he went away. They halted production. He went away for 9 months to do Conan the Destroyer.
Oh, wow.
And they put off the production, and while he was there, he was being interviewed, and he had a pair of shoes from the Terminator wardrobe, and the interviewer asked him about them, and he basically just said, it's from some shit movie I'm doing, it'll take me a couple of weeks. So
Dude.
he was not on
Nobody
board.
had faith in this.
Nobody really had faith in it except for James Cameron. Yeah.
Holy cow,
Yeah,
man.
but
again, he was right. At the end of the day, he was right.
And he won them all over, too. Like, Arnold was won over by seeing him direct and stuff. So everybody that worked...
He turned them.
Yeah, everybody that worked, the actors, that is, that worked on this, were won over by him. So, like, he is definitely known for being hard to work with for actors, but in this movie specifically, it seems like he tamped that down a little bit, or maybe he hadn't developed that ego yet, where it's like, I'm James fucking Cameron, you do what I say. Who knows, though? I mean, maybe because he did end up marrying Linda Hamilton. Maybe
something must have gone okay.
Yeah, maybe he just clicked with these people in a way that he never clicked with anyone else.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and Linda Hamilton in this too. It's so different, especially coming from the perspective that I did, where I saw T2 first, and she's fucking hard
she's a
ass.
badass. Yeah.
In this, she's such an ordinary young person. Like, she is a person who is a waitress.
Yep.
She's not like a gun-toting militia maniac that's shredded from head to toe. She just kind of gets tossed into the situation where it's just like, by the way, your kid is going to be the savior in the future. You got to stay safe and avoid this killing machine. Her character in this is much more, I don't know, human than her role in T2, which kind of like what you're saying with Arnold's role in T2 as well. It's like these actors and actresses got to play two completely different sides of their own coin in those two movies.
Yeah, Sarah Connor is supposed to be 18 in this movie.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so in the second movie,
sure about her age.
She's supposed to be, I guess, how old is Edward Furlong? Maybe 12? So I guess she's supposed to be maybe close to
30-ish. Yeah.
Yeah. And that is like that's an interesting but normal sort of arc from this period, looking at a female character going from bright-eyed, happy young girl to bitter,
hardened by the world.
Hardened by the world. What I love is that they reverse it. Is that she's bitter and hardened by the world, but by seeing like the Terminator change, she changes. So yeah, like she's still hard as shit at the end of that movie.
Holy
at the end of
yeah.
Terminator 2, but she's like, she has hope. If you watched T2 Extended Edition, I don't know if you see like the alternate ending where she's like in the future where there isn't like there hasn't been the machine uprising.
Oh, no, not seen that.
Yeah, so there's an alternate ending where it's just a happy ending. Yeah, I like to see her character arc. She definitely learns a lot, and you know, this movie, it's so believable, her slow conversion to what he's telling her.
Yeah,
because she begins with, no, this dude's crazy, and really like he's fucking insane.
I like that about it too. She's not just
converted.
She's not going with the program like immediately. You know.
Yeah, because
she definitely doubts him.
Yeah, that would be some sort of lazy writing type of version. Because like there were a million Terminator ripoffs that you can watch that definitely have that lazy writing version where it's like, I'm the guy who saves you or whatever, and she's like, okay, cool.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, save me, damsel in distress, kind of.
Gotcha. Yeah. Sarah Connor's like,
movie,
what the fuck? No.
Yeah. Meanwhile, in this movie, she's just a waitress working at an all-beef restaurant, going home to her iguana every night. Let's talk about that restaurant here for a second,
man,
Steve.
Let's talk about what chili beef deluxe is.
Yeah, let's talk about eating in the 80s, because like in the like 1 minute that we see her working as a waitress in the diner, I think every food item that is talked about or brought to a table is beef based in some way.
Here's your beef covered chicken. Yeah.
You ordered the fish. Now, would you like that with the beef, or
should we cook that in beef tallow, or are you a vegetarian?
In that case, get the fuck out. The 80s were a very beefy time.
It was
and
a wild
just
time.
A very smoky time.
Oh, dude, how did we get out of that era? I don't even, because like, you know, you learn as an adult, like if you eat the way we all ate as kids, you're obese.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like as kids growing up in the 80s, we ate so much junk shit. Like even the shit they thought was good for us was
just like cereal. It's covered in sugar, but there's wheat under there. Like, okay, that's all bad, actually.
It's like, wait a second, why is the wheat good? And they're like,
that's
it's
the good
gross,
part.
It's natural.
I don't know, kid. Get out of my fucking face.
Yeah. Man. It's insane to think about.
Could you imagine, though, like, if there was a new product that emerged now in a future, you know, where this never existed, in a reality where this product never existed, where it's like, I don't know, you just take the stuff in this box and you add a pound of hamburger meat to it. It'll help it out.
Dude.
Imagine pitching that to Whole Foods or something where it's like, I don't know, you add a pound of beef to it and you give it to your family. I don't know.
I think they probably have their own versions. I've actually, I have made, because Hamburger Helper was so prevalent, I have an affinity to it, but I know that the actual box stuff isn't good. I have made homemade Hamburger Helper many, many times.
All right, confession time.
Uh-huh.
Hamburger Helper, Stroganoff is actually pretty good. I kind of have a soft spot for that myself.
I'm telling you, learn how to make it at home.
Oh, dude, I've made some real Stroganoff because I liked Hamburger Helper Stroganoff, and it's just like, oh my God, this is a pale imitation
absolutely.
of the real shit.
Yeah, but dude, goddamn, we ate like terrible stuff in the 80s. We made it, though. We made it through the chili beef deluxes.
And dude, I just wonder what all the smoking that we are around has done to us in the long term, because this movie reminded me of just how regular smoking everywhere all the time was. Like, dude, there's that one scene in there where Kyle Reese is in the interrogation room, and like all of the guys questioning him are like smoking, and it's just turning that box into like a smoke hole. And I like, now, you know, in 2020, I'm watching that being like, maybe they're doing that to try to wear him down. His eyes are burning and he's breathing in the hot, stinging air and stuff. And then the camera pans behind the single reflection mirror. It pans behind that to the observation room, and they're smoking in there too.
Yep. Yep. Oh, dude,
Everybody just smoking all the time.
Every place stunk. Like, everywhere you went did not smell good.
Ugh, dude, just
and everywhere
awful.
there was carpet just trapping that
Trapping
cigarette smell everywhere.
That third-hand smoke just fucking everywhere.
So,
and I think that you proposed what probably the special dish of her diner would be.
What's Hamburger Helper?
No, beef and cigarettes.
Beef and cigarettes, yeah. That would
Love
be
the beef and cigarettes, please.
They just bring a big plate of beef slathered in cigarette gravy.
Cigarette gravy.
Yeah.
And a Diet Coke on the side, please.
Oh, Diet Coke. Yeah, well, you're watching your figure.
Or a Crystal Light.
Yeah.
Okay, I brought my own. Thank you. Oh my god, dude. Yeah, just so disgusting. Her life as a waitress seems like it sucks. Her coworkers take great delight in teasing her that she might be murdered by a psycho killer that night, I guess.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I don't know why her coworker thinks, "Oh, she'll love this. Somebody with your exact name was murdered on her doorstep today. Shot 6 times. What a gas."
She shot him 6 times.
6 times. I don't think that's I don't think that is an accident. By the way, there are so many. Either. I almost got into it. We should get into how much like Halloween this is.
Okay, dude, I'm so glad you mentioned that because that's one of the things that I was actually going to throw at you during the episode and hope I surprised you. Like,
no, yeah,
okay, if you just describe
it from the beginning, yeah.
As an emotionless killing machine suddenly starts targeting a young lady that's just minding her own business. A guy shows up that knows who the killer is and tries to help her get away from him. Am I talking about Halloween or Terminator right now?
Right. Yeah. It's Halloween all the way through. This movie is very much Halloween with some what James Cameron, the club is called Tech Noir. James Cameron, this is a genre he was proposing that Blade Runner and Terminator would fit into, which is the sci-fi movies that have these neo-noir elements to them.
Yeah, but I guess it's dark, it's gritty, you know.
Yeah, but this has a very clear undercurrent of horror going throughout.
So. Yeah, because this is kind of like the big debate with this flick is like, is it a horror movie or is it sci-fi?
Right,
know?
And that's the debate that I think some debates that I see in like horror film, like Twitter and stuff, has to do with people not knowing film history very well.
Okay,
and not knowing genre history very well. Sci-fi comes from horror. Like, the first sci-fi novel is Frankenstein, which is a horror novel.
That's true, but that's also a sci-fi story. It's about the horrors of modern technology and stuff.
Is this not a Frankenstein tale?
Kind of, sort of, yeah.
Yeah, it's an animated body that does not have the humanity to it. It has a monstrosity to it.
Yeah, that's true. That's Frankenstein on paper.
Sci-fi is not it's not a subgenre of horror, but they are so closely intertwined that sometimes these types of movies pop up where the debate about whether it's horror or sci-fi doesn't make sense because it's both, and it can be both.
Yeah, totally.
It doesn't have to be one or the other.
It's hard not to see robots and lasers and say, oh, sci-fi. I mean, that's just that's part of it, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely sci-fi, but it's also about a emotionless killing machine stalking a final girl who survives.
Yeah, like Kate is totally of the mindset that this is not a horror movie.
Right.
It's a sci-fi, an action kind of thriller kind of flick. But to me, in my head, I'm like, if you replace the fact that it's a robot from the future with it is a Lovecraftian killing machine monster that just emerges from a portal.
Yeah, it's
a horror movie, right?
Yeah.
It's like, is it just because it's a robot? Is that kind of the hang up? Like, can that not be horrifying?
I think it's the gun. I think that's the thing that most often trips people up on it, is that slasher villains don't use guns. And
I hadn't thought about that.
It's an element of horror we've talked about before, and I've said that I don't like horror movies to use guns too much. But then I was thinking about that argument and started thinking about horror movies that have guns in them. One, Halloween, which
True, yeah.
is obviously inspiring this. But two, From Dusk Till Dawn, Blade.
Tons of guns in that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, tons of guns in those movies.
Undoubtedly, unquestionably horror.
Yeah, very much horror. People Under the Stairs. What is that if it's not horror? And it's this the main antagonist has a gun.
Yeah.
I think that because it's rare, it looks like, well, that doesn't fit in a horror movie. But I
it's
think
an action movie now. Yeah.
Yeah, that it's trying to introduce that. It's trying to be like, okay, well, what if the horror villain had a gun?
Well, here's the thing, though, man. It's like, you know, obviously there is a lot of gunplay and stuff in the movie, but the first kill and one of the first things that we even see Arnold do, you punch a guy's heart out. He does like a fucking Mortal Kombat fatality right at the start of the movie. Yeah, dude.
I never realized, and I just put it together watching it just this most recent time, that they were getting Kano from Terminator.
Absolutely, yep.
Even to the point in Mortal Kombat 2, they add the robotic eye.
Yep.
I never realized that, and I'm sure a ton of people are hearing this and being like, yeah, duh. I just now put together that they were doing a Terminator thing with Kano, and that's why he ripped people's hearts out of their chest.
Dude. And of course, as he rips out that dude's heart, he is among a bunch of just fucking cool-ass gutter punks, including perennial dead and lovely favorite Bill Paxton. Fucking Paxton.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Game over, man. Game over.
Bill Paxton he has a tire tread on his face, which we have to assume
that? That's a look.
Is either a tattoo, that's a real dedication there.
Bold choice.
Makeup, which would take a lot to do every day, or he got ran over earlier that day and was just like, fuck it.
Just leave it.
Yeah.
It's an interesting style choice. He's also got his buddy with like crazy pink eyeliner and stuff on.
Yeah. Yeah. He's the one that survives, right? The pink eyeliner.
I think so. Yeah. Dude, I'll tell you what though, man. Can you imagine how fucking hard these punks with their flick knives are? Long time since we had a fucking flick knife on this show. True. The old switchy.
The old dirtbag.
Yeah, but like imagine you're hanging out with a bunch of your friends, a ginormous Olympian killing machine naked man comes up to you and punches your friend's heart out.
Right.
And you stand your ground and fight the guy with your fucking puny flick knife? I would be running like hell. Are you kidding me?
I don't know what you expect to come from that.
You're not winning. You're not winning at all.
Even if you do win, it's like, well, it would be a battle hard fought.
Yeah, but
I don't think you would come out happy on the other side. Just run.
No, not at all, man. Yeah, those guys are hard.
Yeah, they're hard. These guys are like, no way, bro. We're gonna take him down.
But that's the thing about this movie too, though, is like those punks and so much of the movie have more of a late 70s aesthetic. Like you think 1984, this is almost halfway through the 80s, but this is the side of the 80s that still felt very 70s. Like a lot of the cars and stuff, like the cop cars and everything.
Yeah.
Even like the dance club they go into, like the stuff people are wearing and the look of the club is like very late 70s.
Well, that would be like having a 2009 car in 2014.
Yeah.
So it's not. I mean, it's more. I think we are we have such an expectation in movies a lot of times that the cars in the background we usually see are obviously placed there. Like they're going for an aesthetic, but they didn't have the money to do that, so they're just getting shots of people's normal cars. And most people in 1984 probably still had a 70s car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
Because you didn't replace them as much. Cars weren't replaced as much for a long while. They became way more replaceable in the 80s. So
I mean, dude, I'm in the 2020s and I drive a car from the 90s. Look
that's
out.
true. That is true. You're kicking it, man.
Keeping it real. Another like 80s artifact in here that kind of blew my mind was the prevalence of phone books. Like the Terminator shows up and finds a phone book and is like,
so weird.
Where does Sarah Connor live? And it's like, not only does it have her phone number, but her address.
Yeah.
Like the fact that in the 80s you could just get anybody's address from a phone book.
Yeah.
Scary, weird.
You could have your address not put in the phone book, but you had to ask them specifically. It was like you had to opt out of them telling everyone your name, phone number, and address.
I don't think I would like that.
Yeah.
I think I would opt out of that one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild, man. It's a crazy thing to think about, though we put way more information on the internet now than any of that. So.
Yeah. What about that 80s hair? How do you think that's looking these days, man? Wouldn't you just love to run your fingers through her hair when she gets all dressed up to go to the club?
Just crispy, disgusting, Aquanet covered shit. What was going on other than everybody get ready to take a shot.
Yeah, that's right.
Cocaine.
Take a shot. Dead and Lovely talks about cocaine. You have to take a shot.
By the way, speaking of cocaine, this is a tangent. We'll get right back to what we were doing. But I wrote this.
This never
joke.
happens on the show.
Never happens on the show. I wrote this joke about Marianne Mueller-Lyle, who plays the Sarah Connor that gets shot. Marianne Mueller-Lyle has 230 acting credits, Ben.
Whoa.
So, if you're looking for cocaine, holler at Marianne Mueller-Lyle, because she gets work.
I think you're right.
That's for people who know that work means cocaine. Right?
Does it? Is that a thing?
Yeah. I got that work.
Now your joke is funny. See, that's the thing. People forget. Jokes are only funny if you have to explain them. That's a key element of humor.
As I was writing it, I was like, nobody will know this except for all the younger people listening.
Is that what they call it?
I don't even know if people are still calling it work. It was called, Drake called it work a few years ago. So yeah, maybe still calling it work.
Is that the meaning of work? Is that song? Is that what they're talking
maybe. I don't think so, but maybe.
Are you telling me that the hit Australian 80s pop band is actually Men at Cocaine?
Men at Cocaine. That's right. No, I don't think it. I don't know if it was around back then. Boy, now I'm realizing perhaps work is more obscure and my joke is way awesomer than I thought it was.
It's getting better and better.
Yeah,
the more you have to explain it.
Somebody's listening to this right now and they're like, I got that joke from the beginning. That person's cool. Anyway,
the cocaine-fueled hairstyles of this movie are
just insane.
Holy hell. It's just it dates it hard as fuck.
Yeah, because, there are certain hairstyles that date periods. The Caesar for dudes in the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you watch any mid to late 90s movie, every dude, same hairstyle.
The Rachel for the ladies.
The Rachel, for sure. Yeah. Then, the bouffant back in the 50s when everybody was on speed. It seems like the more amphetamines you get in your system, the more uppers you get, the higher your hair you want.
It just goes up and up, huh?
Yeah, you're like, man, my hair is just so flat. I want it to reach the sky. I want it to talk to God.
I need to get higher and higher.
That's what they were going for.
I think so.
It's not attractive. Her roommate's hair looks like a wig that was made as a joke. It's insane.
Well, the funny thing is there's that scene where they're like getting ready in the bathroom, and it's like they're a little bit more, I guess the hair and stuff is less played up.
Yeah.
And then by the time they're done, they're like, we look awesome. And it's like, you look like you're fucking 45 because your hair is crazy.
Why does it do that? Why does it immediately
make it look
people
old?
Look
it's
old?
Weird. Maybe that's just totally an age thing because it reminds us of our moms, which, My
mom was in her 20s when.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're way older than our parents were when we associate them with looking old at that age. So what the fuck do we know, right?
Yeah.
Really cute nod though too in that little bathroom scene. I love that they deliberately put her wearing a Jetsons t-shirt. It's like that
yeah.
was a vision of the future, is the Jetsons.
Yeah. They do some small nods throughout. Like when the doctor is repeating Kyle's story back to him about machines taking over, and he's saying it kind of derisively, his pager goes off and he immediately pays attention to it.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, just like a little like joke, like, look, they're already controlling you. Like,
wow, there's a thing on Sarah's answering machine too, where it's like, leave me a message. Machines need love too.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's just a whole bunch throughout. I think they did a really good job, because watching it this time, I forgot. Well, I guess I never knew fully, because I have seen this so many times since I was a child, that seeing this story, you don't know who the bad guy is from the beginning.
That's true.
You're not sure if Kyle is a good guy too. Like, they just
that could have been an awesome twist at the end if it turned out that he wasn't, you know?
Yeah, and actually they play it up more in T2, because of course we know the T-800 from the beginning. So when we see the T-800 show up and then also this other guy show up, we're like, okay, which one's the bad guy?
Yeah, well, and it turns out the bad guy puts on the cop uniform, too, which is like, whoa.
Yeah, I never really put that together, that watching this for the first time, you would be not sure that Arnold is the bad guy. And then that scene in the bar, when he comes up to shoot her, that's where it's like, oh, okay, I got it. Good guy, bad guy.
Yeah, dude. Oh, man, it's so badass.
Though ripping people's hearts out does make you a bad guy generally.
Usually. Yeah, usually not my favorite people are known for doing that exactly.
Yeah.
But, dude, that's the crazy thing to me, too, is like, you know, watching this movie now, or even watching this movie 20 years ago, it's like the Terminator was instilled in pop culture. Everybody knew Arnold. Mm-hmm. Everybody knew the red laser eye. Everybody knew the chrome metal skeleton and stuff.
Yeah.
But I cannot imagine watching this movie with a clean slate in 1984, and you spent the whole movie with this hulking fucking, you know, monster action figure guy stalking Kyle and Sarah the whole movie and just killing a million people. Mm-hmm. And right when you think they've taken him out with the pipe bomb and the gas truck and stuff, and then the fucking final boss emerges 15 minutes from the end of the movie. Like, there's nothing that could prepare you for that.
No.
The stakes just raise tenfold 15 minutes from the credits of this movie.
Yeah.
Like, when you think Terminator, you think of that endoskeleton and stuff, but you don't realize, like, that's just a sliver of this movie.
Tiny bit of the movie, yeah. But
I can't imagine
it is
seeing
his
that
scariest form, for sure.
Oh my god, dude! It is absolute, like, last boss, like final boss thing, where you think you beat Bowser, and then he comes up out of the lava and he's just a skeleton. Like, it's so impactful.
It definitely had to have some influence on the way that video games, because, like, you know, I'd like to trace that the final form, final boss type of thing that's just so prevalent in video games. But, I mean, this is 1984. But what, I mean, other than Pong and some arcade games, there's nothing out there. So they're definitely mimicking this trope. Did this begin that trope?
Well, the thing is, though, is you already drew the parallel between, you know, this and Kano, but you also got to think, too, about this and, like, let's say Super Contra for Super Nintendo. Like, where you remember, like, one of the first bosses, that big metal skeleton that claws through the wall and stuff. Yeah, like, this is absolutely very influential. On the video gaming world, for sure.
Yeah, very Contra definitely influenced by, say, like, Predator and Alien as well. So yeah, you're right. This is definitely influential on video games.
Yeah, man, for sure. I just can't imagine, though, like, there's nothing that could prepare you for seeing that. Like, seeing that metal skeleton emerge from the flaming wreckage.
Yeah, even when you see, like, his skin torn away and the little bit of robot, you still aren't putting together. Underneath there's this hulking exoskeleton, or endoskeleton, I guess.
Yeah,
exoskeleton,
dude.
What is it? It is endo.
It's inside,
and then it becomes exo, I guess.
I guess so, yeah. You can be an innie and an outie as a metal robot skeleton, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, you're right, because we've had little glimpses the whole movie where he, like, repairs himself, and you see a little bit of his robot eye and things, but then just to know that that was under there the whole time, like that's the real robot at that point.
That's a huge reveal. Yeah.
Oh man.
And that's what's been stalking them the whole time. Like, he was already intimidating.
Yeah.
He was already scary. But to know that the whole time, that's what's been following them. Like, ugh.
Well, and also, too, I think
frightening.
that there's something that is deeply embedded in myth and imagery and stuff in our own minds where we associate the human skeleton with death, with demise. So whenever we see that robotic, cybernetic skeleton, I think it even subconsciously hits us on a lot of different levels, because not only are we seeing that this thing is unkillable, like even in its deadest form, a skeleton, it is still coming after us. But there's also something that is, I think, very scary in that it's showing us that, like, science has eliminated death. Like, the machines have beaten death, the thing that we can't beat.
You have fallen for one of the classic blunders, fallen right into my trap. I don't even know if you knew it. Oh, no,
I'm ensnared. I'm hoisted on my own petard.
Because, Ben, when I used to teach a class on the undead, I used to teach a segment that I called Unlife. And I fit artificial intelligence into what I think is a spectrum of undeath. And
it is alive, but it's not alive.
It's alive, but it's not alive. Yeah, it's conscious, but not there's no humanity there.
I like that.
Like the way that, as you're saying, inside he's this exact symbol of our fears of death. And he becomes that by dying. Like, he goes through what they think is a death, and then becomes this other creature. Like, this very much fits into our fears of, like, humans. We know that there are humans who are inhuman. We know that there are, serial killers, world leaders that commit genocide, things like that. We know that, but you can't see it on their face. It's that
they look like us.
Yeah, it's that fear of what's inside when everything else breaks down. When all the other, like, when people put aside the niceties and the pleasantries of everyday life, when you break that all down, what do you get? And so, in this case, when you break that all down, you've got this cold, calculated logic machine that is only programmed to kill. And on the outside, it is intimidating, and on the inside, even more devastating. So, like, when we think about the undead, when we experience it from, visually, it is frightening. But when we experience it emotionally, say we're seeing our dead wife has now risen from the grave. They're the two levels to experiencing the undead, and I think this is a good example on the unlife spectrum of the two stages to dealing with it. There was the constant stalking, skin covered Terminator that is frightening and fearful and all those things, but then you see what's inside and it's even worse. Even more monstrous. The emotional reaction is just fear. That's all that's there. So it's I really enjoy imagery. I really enjoy the way they did that, and I think, like, as I'm saying, like, James Cameron, he definitely was influenced by horror. And I just see so many elements of horror in this that to not call it a horror movie is fine. To just say it's a sci-fi movie it's fine with me, but I would say it can exist in both genres comfortably.
Yeah, I think so too, man. And two, I think even something with that skeleton imagery and stuff that is maybe even subconsciously kind of implanted in us early in the movie, just to kind of relate the fragility of human life and the fact that we will all die and just turn into dust at the end. Like, one of the first scenes that we see of the crazy future war zone is, of course, those iconic like treads on the hunter killer.
Yeah.
Rolling over all those
skulls.
human skulls. Yeah, it's like we see them just getting ground into powder, and then later in the movie we see this chromium steel, you know, skull that's indestructible. It just kind of lets us know like science has made us obsolete. And again, that's another way that this movie is so influential. Like so many Fear Factory songs are based on stuff from Terminator, man. It's like there's so much imagery and stuff that band utilized that is straight out of these movies, and it's so cool, man.
And as we know, anything that influenced Fear Factory is a huge influence on day-to-day life.
Yeah, I mean, if you're living your life right, I think.
Yeah, you go to Kroger, you hear Fear Factory. You're like, that's right, I need to worry about technology.
That's exactly how it goes, Steve. You nailed it. But yeah, like I love that there is kind of that subconscious imagery, you know, through the movie of man versus machine. And I think that as time goes by and as our artificial intelligence becomes stronger and stronger, and as more things become automated and even more ordinary human tasks are replaced with automation, I think that these movies just get scarier and scarier and more real as time goes by, you know?
Yeah, because we see the more invasive ways that technology has become part of our selves. Like it's no longer just part of our lives; it's part of ourselves. We have to exist online, and who we are online is even a separate person from who we are in reality. So we're living all these dualities at work with all the people in our lives, you know, with the people closest to us. With the internet, we're just constantly being pulled in all these different directions. To be different types of people. And this is in 1984 when the biggest worry is answering machines and pagers.
Yeah.
Like, those are the things where it's like, hey, pay attention. You're always checking your messages on your answering machine. Babe, I love getting messages. Like, it's just like...
Back in my day, we talked to people, not machines.
Yeah, exactly. I do remember that being a thing back in the day of answering machines. There were people who refused to leave messages because they wouldn't talk to a machine.
Totally, man. Yep. And then it's like, even if you didn't have an answering machine, somebody would be trying to get a hold of you, and you'd never even know.
You'd have no idea. And you know how we lived our lives back then? Fine.
It was all right, I guess. I had something pop up in my feed the other day where somebody was like, you know how whenever you text somebody and they text back, call me? Like, what if we just started where when somebody calls you, you answer the phone and say, text me, and hang up?
Yeah. I think that's acceptable.
I think it's very acceptable.
Yeah. I think it's absolutely acceptable because my assumption would be if somebody said that is that they picked up the phone real quick in a meeting or something to just be like, okay, text me. Like, and I don't know, I'm not calling anybody just to have a friendly chat, except, you know, once a week for like 3 hours.
Yeah, exactly. Just like that. Or, I mean, you know, if somebody sends me that message like, hey, text me instead, and they hang up, I'm like, maybe they're pooping right now.
Yeah, who wants to?
You know, you don't want to be on the phone while you're doing that.
Yeah, nobody wants to be talking while they're grumping one out.
Nope,
not interested.
I don't want to be on the other end of that call. Hell no. But yeah, I think that just like as AI, and it's funny to go from that to AI.
Yeah, let's talk AI.
As AI advances, I think that all this stuff is just becoming more and more of a reality. I mean, once we reach, the point where we have things like quantum computers and stuff that are coming up in the future. Once we reach the point of a singularity where the computers can start making themselves better than we can, shit's going to get really scary, guys. And it's not that far off at all.
Yeah, it doesn't have to, but it just seems like the course of things. Because, like, there's nothing generally actually scary. Because, like, I think back to phone books, and it's like, yeah, that seems like a lot of information to know, but it's like, how much... I didn't think about that ever back in the phone book days. I never...
Yeah, totally.
Because it was like, you'd have to go to that person's city and get a phone book.
Or have somebody mail you a phone book from that town. What the fuck ever.
It's just unlikely, yeah. And it's like, now it's like, yeah, there's a ton of... Because, like, you know, we have hundreds of hours of us just talking about shit. Definitely said stuff on here that would be revelations to some people in my life. It's kind of normalized, and I don't think it's a totally negative thing.
No.
Because I don't know. I mean, what are we defending when we defend privacy? There are certain things that are private, for sure, and should be kept to, oneself or to the people that you want to reveal it to. But a lot of the things that we worry about being private just don't matter. We're just hiding them from everybody for no reason. And I think it's nice that we're in a day where so much more is out in the light.
That's true. Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, the current trajectory does make it seem like it's a scary future for sure. But things could turn around. Maybe
things could turn around.
Yeah, maybe Amazon Echoes will cure cancer.
Maybe they do. Maybe they all start jabbering with each other. We get Alexa on the job. Maybe she'll start doing some work for us. Maybe she teams up with, I'm not going to say the word SIRI. I'm not going to say that because my phone will activate when I say it.
Yeah.
Maybe they team up and become just like the fucking Wonder Twins and save the world. I don't know.
That would be interesting. Can you imagine that? You see an iPhone and two other devices just like at a podium answering questions about how they saved the world.
Or maybe how they very, very easily and deftly passed a dementia exam.
Yeah.
Wow.
Person, TV, camera, boom. Did it.
Dude, let's talk about the soundtrack in this movie because it's fucking awesome.
It's so great. So good. I didn't write down the name of the sound guy.
I was wondering who it was. No, and actually, maybe we should get let's get Fuzzbeat on that. Because here's the thing that I'm wondering, Steve. Okay, so when you think Terminator, of course you're going dum 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 dum, like you're thinking of the Terminator percussion kind of theme.
Yeah.
But dig this. Okay.
Okay.
And again, this is why I really do need to know who did the soundtrack to this, because it makes me wonder. After you have that like rhythmic theme for the Terminator, you have that other melodic theme that goes doo doo doo.
Yeah.
Bum bum.
Bum,
right.
Bum.
Think about that compared to the Isengard theme from Lord of the Rings.
Oh,
da 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 dun dun. It's so similar. It's really fucking similar.
That's cool. I didn't.
And maybe they did that on purpose with Lord of the Rings to kind of like subconsciously trigger like, oh my god, it's like the machine uprising with Isengard and the orcs and stuff.
Yeah, it really does. Now that I think about it, that
it's like one interval away.
Replace the Terminator music in that scene and it would work.
You know the one I'm talking about? Like where you see the orcs tearing down the trees? It's almost identical. And I have to think that Peter Jackson maybe even did that on purpose because he loves these movies and shit.
Oh yeah, he's a huge movie nerd.
Nerd.
Brad Fidel did.
Okay, so not the guy that did Lord of the Rings.
No, but he's done movies we've done in the past. He did Fright Night.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, he's had a long career. He did Gladiators soundtrack.
Oh shit! Okay, so he kept in the biz.
Yeah.
Damn, dude.
Yeah.
Do you think that this is maybe a Carpenter influenced soundtrack? Because I think
so. Yeah, I think so much of the stuff in this is influenced by Carpenter. It's very clear that the synthesizer type of music it's different than Carpenter for sure. I think Carpenter does more meandering stuff that's not really necessarily going anywhere, where this definitely seems to have a trajectory, but it's still simple, Carpenter-esque. I think it's definitely influenced. It seems to me.
I think so too. And it is so appropriately super fucking 80s sounding with those keyboard tones and stuff. And like during some of the chase scenes, like there's this one theme that just goes. You know what I'm talking about? It's like it's just not really doing anything. It just sounds like a cat walking across a keyboard or something. But it's still fucking cool, man. I love it.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking about it. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yes.
Name that tune.
I never thought about how crazy that sounds.
It's so awesome, man. It's so cool. And, we got to talk about the special effects in here from Stan Winston and his crew, because that's definitely one of the standout features of this movie. I mean, the storyline and stuff is fucking sick, and it has so much depth, but, God, it is brought to life by those visuals. What do you think about the special effects in this movie?
Great, man. I mean, Stan Winston, he had already had a career. He'd already had an Oscar nomination by this point, but
Wow.
like he was still young in his career, still early. You can definitely tell the Harryhausen aesthetic is kind of there
Sure.
at times. It's got that stop motion feel, but also a little herky, which is maybe intentional, but probably just a budgetary issue.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see somebody doing it intentionally, like as a nod to Harryhausen, but I think it was probably just a budgetary issue, and the fact that they made that robot out of actual metal, which was
Jeez.
very
That thing had to weigh a
impractical.
ton.
It was very heavy, and it made it hard to move. So,
Yeah,
they-
the stop motion
yeah.
shots are probably the most unbelievable parts
Yeah.
of this movie, where it does take you out a little bit. To me, it's like it's still so fucking cool looking that I'm
Yeah.
okay with it. And it's like you
Yeah,
said,
it
even the
doesn't
fact that
bother
it's
me,
kind of jerky. It's like, well, it's a robot, you know?
Yeah, they walk all robot-y. You ain't never seen nobody do the robot.
That's how they do. They're jerky like.
They're all like, you know?
Popping and locking on you, and so on, carrying on.
Yeah, I think though, you're right, but as I said, like this is $6 million in comparison to those other big special effects budget $30 million movies around this same time. To see that Stan Winston was able to take a very low budget and come out with this is
Dude,
amazing.
It's crazy. I don't even know if I could build a dang old swing set for $6 million.
You know what? If somebody has $6 million and wants to pay me $6 million to build a swing set, yes, please.
Your game. Okay, you'll try it.
Yeah.
Myself, I've already accepted failure, so don't even come at me with that offer. It's over.
But if you're offering less than $6 million, let's say $4 million, I'm still interested.
Okay, still
I'm
interested?
lowballing myself. $1 million. $50.
All right, fine. Yeah, I think some of the spots in this where the special effects are also like, maybe stretched a little bit thin. We have some of
Yeah.
those shots where Arnie is like cutting into his eye,
the
and you can tell
repair
it's a
scene.
prosthetic
Mhm.
head. But
Yeah.
then again, he's a robot, so
Yeah.
it can look kind of fake, and that's okay.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, let's accept, say, the fact that maybe the skin normally fuses with the metal beneath, and that's why it looks naturally like skin. And when he's doing these repairs, it is disconnected from the skeleton underneath, and so that's
Maybe it's
why
like
it
that.
looks so masky.
Yeah.
I accept that. That's fine.
They probably could have shot it in a way that made it look a little better. I mean, they chose
Yeah,
to go
maybe.
with a bright light directly on the
Yeah,
face, square
could
in
have
the
done
center
it a
of the
little
frame.
bit more in the dark. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Because he's in this like seedy motel and stuff like that. It's like they
Yeah.
could have done that with the blinds, where the lines from the blinds are over his face, and it's
Yeah.
grittier and darker and stuff. Or maybe even showed it in silhouette, and then we just see a close up of the robot eye or whatever. Like,
right, yeah.
there's
yeah,
probably a more subtle way they could do that.
Probably so. And so the one of the few things that kind of stands out is not great now. But that's the thing, is I think in 1984 they were like, look how good this looks.
Yeah, true. They wanted to show it off.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's maybe a little bit of hubris where it's like, yeah, this looks really good, but if we show it in a little bit darker circumstances, it'll look better.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I think that the bads are far outweighed by the goods, dude.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
so many
Yeah.
parts, especially like once they stop doing the stop motion Terminator and they just go to like close up shots where you're just seeing a hand or the skull or whatever, reaching out for her.
Mm-hmm.
Those shots look
Those are great.
incredible.
Those
they
are
look
amazing, yeah.
unbelievable, man. Because
Yeah.
they were like, we've already established, we've given you the full body shots of the endoskeleton.
Yeah.
Which, it's like when you look at it that way, it's like, yeah, we all know now what that skeleton looked like, but they kind of had to show the full Monty back then because
Yeah.
otherwise you wouldn't know what it looked like. So
Yeah, it
they
would be
kind of
just-
had to do those shots.
Yeah, like, I mean, any other attempts at cyborgs before this were mostly just people wearing makeup and appliances.
Yeah, and fucking dryer hoses on their arms and shit like
Yeah,
that. Danger
yeah.
Will Robinson kind of shit.
Right. So this is like so much more practical and realistic that it adds to the fright factor of it, because it's like, yeah, because his body is so big, the thing underneath also being this big hulking thing is like, oh, he was just a tiny bit of skin stretched over. Like,
yeah, it's cool.
The big reveal is so much cooler, yeah, because, yeah, I think with a smaller guy, they would have to do a smaller skeleton inside, and maybe it'd be less intimidating, though it's still, I mean, I'm just thinking of it as is right now, smaller, still scary.
Yeah, that's still very fucking scary, right? But even like the explosions and stuff in this, there's some really sick ones, like when the gas truck blows up. There's all kinds of special effects shots in here that still stand the test of time and look great. And I can't believe they did it for the budget that they did. That is crazy.
They even stole some shots. Like they got pulled over shooting some stuff while the tunnel shots. They didn't have a permit to shoot.
Really?
And they pretended they were UCLA film students. And
no
didn't
way.
know they needed a permit.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that kind of shit, man.
One thing that I haven't mentioned yet that I think is probably the least interesting thing I'll mention, but I thought was cool, was that Sarah Connor's exterior to her apartment, it was like a couple blocks from my old apartment in Koreatown.
No shit.
And I've walked past it a million times, and if I had known that it was Sarah Connor's apartment, I would have gotten a picture in front of it.
Dude, that's super cool.
Yeah. And it still looks the same. So, there you go.
Don't you go changing, LA. Don't you go changing.
Don't go chasing waterfalls either.
Ah, yeah.
Because we know about, the things that happen. Do you get AIDS? Is that what it was?
That's what it is, yeah.
Yeah,
and
the
then
one guy.
you get AIDS. Yeah, that's how it goes. Pretty sure that's how it goes.
I seen a guy get AIDS yesterday.
So I think some of the most like prevalent special effects shots happen in the future flash forwards of the war zone and stuff that Kyle knows for most of his life. And I love how they transition, where it's like he falls asleep at that construction site and he's watching the construction machines and there's like the treads on the crane or whatever. Then that transitions into the treads on the hunter killers and stuff. I think that those are really well placed, and it shows that like, he's not this invincible hero guy. Like, he's haunted by the shit that he has seen because he knows the future and it's not good. He's very well fleshed out character, very well acted. I think maybe there was one note Orion gave to James Cameron that I think probably really helped the movie, and that was they wanted more of a relationship between Kyle and Sarah. Okay.
And I think that without that, the Kyle Reese character would be pretty boring. Like, there's not a lot going on beyond that, and I think they did a good job of bringing that in, because the character now, like as it is in Terminator, after taking Orion's advice, he's very fleshed out and feels real, and it's like, oh, this guy who is from the future has had this crush on this woman from a picture he saw in the future, but like he also has this like mythical aura to her that like he sees her as this huge heroic figure, but she just sees herself as an 18-year-old girl. Like, it's a real interesting and strange love story that I think makes the movie better. Like, without it, I think it would be hard to attach to either character much.
I think you're right, because the thing is that, by having him be this like super soldier from the future sent to protect her and all this jazz, it would have been easy for that to be a one-dimensional, I'm the invincible hero character, but the fact that they gave him vulnerabilities and weaknesses really humanized him, which also makes the Terminator seem more inhuman. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, because we don't want him to die, because we like him and we want him to raise John Connor together or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, he's Johnny Ringo, dude.
He's Johnny fucking Ringo.
Which, dude, I totally didn't even know that until I was looking through his credits. I was like, holy shit, this guy's been on a lot of stuff that I've seen, but he's one of those guys that I seriously think I could run into him on the street and not recognize him. He really just falls into those characters that he plays so well. Very underrated actor.
Yeah, I really dig Michael Biehn. He's good. He's really good. The thing I dig most about him is those cool ass shoes he's wearing.
Damn Nikes.
Dude, Nike Vandal Highs. I want those Nike Vandal High Terminators so much. I looked them up. They're selling for like $1,000.
Fuck me, dude. Can we make that like a new goal on our Patreon where it's like if we reach $1,000 a month,
shoes.
buy Steve some Nike High Vandals? Maybe that's a thing, right? Maybe people could get behind that. I mean, you saw what happened when that guy started that GoFundMe to make some potato salad. Whatever
That's a
happened with
good
that?
point. GoFundMe
Did he make the potato
to
salad?
buy myself some cool tennis shoes.
You know, maybe it's a thing. Maybe people can get behind it. Be like, I'll toss $1 at that. Sure,
dude. I've wanted them since I was a kid. I had a pair of Reeboks that looked kind of like them because my dad like really wanted me to have them, and I don't think at the time that those actually existed. They convinced Nike to make them eventually, but I wanted them so bad. And just growing up as a kid, like it was those shoes and some I saw a cover for a skateboard magazine where a dude was wearing 2 different color Chuck Taylors, and I wanted that so bad.
I remember that being kind of a thing. Yeah.
Eventually my mom bought me blue Chuck Taylors, but she wouldn't buy me a pair of black because apparently they were more expensive than a kid understands. And she had to work for that money. Ugh.
Oh, come on.
Right?
And pay all the bills and pay for every meal you ever ate as a child.
And
Come
like
on.
feed me, and it's like what do moms even do?
Dude, the older I get, the more I feel like just more and more of a prick for like
me too.
demanding an allowance as I was a kid.
I didn't get an allowance, but I just feel bad about even existing as a kid. Not existing as an adult now, but as a kid. I feel like maybe my mom should have just put me in a mayonnaise jar and then pulled me out when I was a full-grown adult.
Yeah, that seems like that's an easier route for most of our parents. I can't imagine having some little fucking, 12-year-old with a bowl cut, who's like lived under my roof and literally every meal he's ever eaten has been bought by my work.
Yeah.
The clothes he is wearing as he's telling me this are ones that I purchased and drove to the store in my car to buy. And this little fucking shit is going, I think you need to start paying me every week for everything I do around here. Like, fuck you. Fuck you, little kid. Fuck you.
But see, in this case, a lot of the times, people have, like, joyously had those children and, like, love them and shit.
Are you sure?
I think so. I mean, from my...
You need some evidence. Cite your sources.
From some people I've talked to who have kids, apparently they like it. I don't know. But I can't imagine. Yeah, I can't imagine even if I had a kid, I wanted just a kid being like, I demand this.
I demand payment for my services.
You do realize everything up to this point has been demands as well, right? Like if I don't feed you, they take me to jail.
Get with it, you little shit.
Yeah.
Now, of course, like most every time travel movie, there are logic problems in this that arise. Of course. Whenever you start going back in time to try to alter the future, there are paradoxes. I mean, the fact is that essentially the cause of this movie is a kid being like, hey, Dad, go back and save Mom so she can have me.
Yeah. Okay.
And then he goes back in time and impregnates her. And it's like, wait, that had to have already happened for there to be a John Connor to have sent you back to begin with.
So here's, I think, the plausible explanation for this that makes it all fine. And I think they kind of address this in Avengers Endgame when they're talking about time travel. Basically, the John Connor that sends Kyle Reese back in time to stop his world from existing still exists in the world that is run by machines. Okay. And Kyle Reese has ceased to exist in that entire reality. He can't
you're saying
go back.
Like it fractures reality and it splits off into a new timeline.
Yeah, it's a separate timeline. And that means that the John Connor who sent Kyle Reese back was not the son of Kyle Reese.
Okay.
And it also means that they very well could have had Sarah Connor have a daughter, because it's a new sperm with the egg. It's a whole different thing. Yeah, like the John Connor that we see is not the John Connor that sent back the Kyle Reese. So it doesn't even make like, it's like the John Connor in the future was like, oh, inevitably the machines are going to take over. I just want to be more prepared for it.
Yeah.
But what they actually do is stop it from happening, supposedly. But then there are all those sequels that, I mean, I haven't even seen Terminator 3. I've never sat down and watched it.
There's a couple of them I haven't seen. Yeah, I think
I've
like
seen
the
Salvation.
The Christian Bale one, I don't think I've seen.
I saw that one. It's, it's got some interesting moments in it for sure. But
the thing that it kind of got me thinking about, though, is like, imagine in this movie, in this timeline, if, John Connor sends Kyle Reese back to go and save his mom and keep him being born and stuff like that.
Right.
Kyle Reese goes back in time. He hooks up with Sarah Connor in there, too. And then let's say he doesn't die at the end. They beat the Terminator. Maybe he even like time travels back to the future and he's talking to John Connor and John's like, hey, how'd it go, man? He's like, dude, it went great. Totally beat the Terminator. You are going to be born. I saved your mom. Hey, also get this. We fucking hooked up. I got to bang her. We had sex. And John Connor's like, wait, you used a condom, right? He's like, no, man.
Raw dog, bro.
Yeah.
She
and we
was
start
good
seeing
to go.
John Connor like starts to like vanish like in Back to the Future. He's like, you fucking idiot. Now I'm gonna be born. You fucked my mom. Fuck you, dude. He's just like fading out.
That would be great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Only
could
to
see
be
that.
replaced by Sean Connor.
What?
Who's kind of a dweeb.
Yeah, he's kind of a dweeb, and he's not a good leader. His mom really scared the shit out of him trying to train him to be a good leader, and he's just like...
He really got more into the arts. He's got a liberal arts degree and stuff, and it's like, well, my skills aren't really needed here, but...
He paints beautiful paintings of the T-800s.
All because that asshole Kyle went back in time, banged his mom.
Bitchin' Kyle.
Son of a bitch, dude. You fucked my mom? Are you serious?
Dude, no! As he disappears.
Yeah. But yeah, like, I love those paradoxes and stuff in these movies because your brain really hits a wall where, like, you're thinking about that couldn't have happened because he would have had to have gone back in time already for that to have happened.
Yeah.
And I love whenever my brain hits that brick wall like that where it's like, does not compute. I enjoy that kind of thing, you know?
Mm-hmm. That is interesting, yeah. I guess it's like, I'm glad we did this because I've seen this movie so many times that I never questioned much of it. So watching it and trying to look at it with a critical eye,
yeah,
and coming to the conclusion that I still love it was awesome. Like,
yeah, right.
We've done movies where I loved it and then come to the conclusion it's actually not that good. In this case, getting more acquainted with this movie I've seen so many times and also discovering that it's everything I believed it to be and just as good as it ever was. This is great. It was a fun time to watch this again. Totally agree, man.
I totally agree. I think the only thing that can make it cooler is, imagine this as kind of let's call it a reimagining. Okay. There's a couple. It's like set way, way, way back in time, way back in the olden days. We got a husband and his very pregnant wife. They're traveling across the desert on like camelback or maybe on horse or like a mule or something like that. They're trying to find shelter and stuff.
Right.
And then this portal opens up in the middle of the desert, and this guy's like, Mary, I have to save you. You're going to give birth to the Messiah.
Right.
I've got to keep you safe. And then there's like this like crazy murder robot that's gone back in time to try to kill Jesus.
God, yeah, gotcha.
I mean, if you think about it, John Connor, JC, it's already kind of there.
Yeah, it is kind of there. You're right. I mean, I think okay. So the next Terminator movie will be the Terminator decides to go back in time to kill Jesus because if he kills Jesus, then John Connor will be named something different and it won't work. People will be like, Who's Quentin?
Well, the thing is, we've already had Terminator Genesis. This is Terminator Exodus, I think. Terminator Leviticus.
Terminator Leviticus.
Why not, man?
Did
I think
you
that would make it
combine
better.
cotton with another fabric?
Die.
Die.
I know what you mean, though, man. Like, you go back and you watch this, and it's such an efficient movie. It's so well paced. The exposition about what is happening in the future and stuff is so well done. It never really seems all that heavy-handed. I love that even some of the exposition is so natural, where it's like, as Sarah Connor grows to trust Kyle Reese and she starts asking questions about, like, well, what's it like in the future? What's your average day like? Like, what are the girls like? Like, she starts to trust him more and more and believe him. So she asks the questions that are there to answer to us what life is like, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
It's just so well-paced and efficient. There's never really any moments in this movie where I'm like, okay, fucking go somewhere. Like, what's going on already? You know?
It never, I mean, the sex scene is maybe a little long.
Yeah, little out of nowhere.
But I think it's also put in with, like, this movie did really well with women, and Arnold Schwarzenegger actually suggested that when they make the preview, they play up the love story more. I don't think it did well with women because of the love story. I think Hollywood used to have some pretty sexist ideas of why a movie did well with women. Yeah. It's like, an interesting movie did well with women. Probably because there's a love story. No, it's probably because it was an interesting fucking movie. What do you mean?
I think it's all more the smooching and hugging, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
That's all they're interested in. I know the ladies.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though. I did forget how much of this movie is spent with Arnold not having eyebrows.
Right. Yeah, he was really worried about that and actually got his eyebrows insured. Yeah, he was worried they wouldn't grow back right.
Holy shit, really?
Mm-hmm.
Dude. The thing is, though, that's funny about it is, like, you know, he's in that accident and they, like, get burnt off or whatever. Right. But the weird thing is, like, when people have their eyebrows removed, it does change the way that you perceive them and stuff. Yeah. It's like, it kind of makes a person look more inhuman. So it actually added to the cybernetic nature of his character in a way.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Remember how Whoopi Goldberg doesn't have eyebrows?
And how none of us ever noticed, like, all of our lives?
None of us ever noticed.
What the hell?
Yeah. Yeah, it is a big deal, though. Yeah, it changes your face.
It really does, man. Yeah. So it kind of works in a way, but I've forgotten how much of it is spent with no eyebrows on Arnie.
Yeah.
And the question that I have to know at the end of the flick there, I mean, we see her driving through Mexico. She's got her big old dog. What happened to that fucking iguana? Also, why did she have an iguana? Remember when in the 80s people would have a pet iguana? Why?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, some people out there definitely have iguanas or snakes as pets, I'm sure. I don't get it. I would like to understand. I just, iguanas don't seem to have much personality to me.
I wouldn't think.
Not that I dislike an iguana. It's just, I mean,
I don't
keeping
need
it
one.
around is like, it could just be out somewhere in a tree. Like, what is this relationship about?
I think I'm now going to go and, like, change all my, like, social media handles and stuff to, like, Ben Eller, I don't need an iguana.
Don't need it.
I just don't need it. It's not that I don't want one. I don't need one, really.
Don't need one.
And an iguana doesn't need me.
That's true. I can't think of a single time an iguana has come up to a human like, hey, food, please.
Love me.
Right. Dogs, cats, they do that. Not iguanas.
Oh, man. Yeah, you're right, though. This movie does totally hold up. And even if it was just a standalone movie and didn't have the lineage and stuff like that behind it, I think that you would still be able to watch this one just crazy, isolated sci-fi slasher horror movie from the 80s and be like, dude, did you ever see this? It's weird as fuck and fucking awesome. But then the fact that it maybe even gained value in my eyes because it is the thing that leads us to Terminator 2, which is fucking incredible. I mean,
Yeah.
T2, I hate to say it, like, because I love this movie so much, but it is superior to Terminator 1 in every way.
It was the original story that James Cameron came up with. He didn't think they had the technology to make it work.
Oh, and he's
Yeah.
right, too. I mean, that's just smart. Work with what's there.
Yeah, and if you, I mean, just watching them back to back as I did the other night, watching them back to back, you see that Terminator 2 has so many of the same beats as Terminator 1.
Yeah,
It's like, this is the movie I wanted to make. Like, that's what
it feels that way. It's kind of like Evil Dead 2 versus original Evil Dead in a lot of ways, isn't it?
Yeah, very similar. Yeah.
Man alive, dude. Yeah, fucking great movie. I'm really glad we covered it. This is one of those ones that I've also always wanted to do since we started doing the show. I've been like, I can't wait till we get to do Terminator. I can't believe that we're this many episodes in and just now getting to it, because it is
170 something.
Fuck, man. It's an absolute classic. Everybody should see this movie. Even if you don't like horror movies, you should watch this. If you don't really get into sci-fi movies or action movies, you should watch this. Everybody should watch this fucking movie.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Yep.
We're rating it now.
Let's slap a rate on this thing.
I mean, it's hard for me to not give it a 10 because it's just been a part of my life for so long. But I see the flaws, and I see how Terminator 2 fixes them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's not a perfect movie. It's surprisingly, for a movie in the 80s, I don't think anybody said anything that made me cringe.
That's true. Yeah, there's nothing really in this that is truly just like, ugh.
Yeah, I can't believe you just said that. But, yeah,
I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, but there's no fucking guy at the restaurant slapping her ass and being like, bring me some sugar, little missy, or anything like disparaging or like shitty about minorities or anything.
Yeah, so
it actually has aged pretty well. You're right.
It's aged well, and it introduced a lot of us to Arnold, who, for better or worse, has been a huge part of the movie scene since this movie. I think he's been a positive contribution. He's a great action star. He has his problems for sure. He's cheated on his wife, etc. But I think in this case, it's not hard to separate the artist from his scandals, because his scandals are minor. I mean, it's a big deal to cheat on your wife, but people do it a lot. It's not brand new. It's insane that he did it, but it happens.
I mean, people, the president's done it like a million times.
Yeah,
so,
I guess it's fine, right?
That means it's fine.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I like Arnold. I disagree with him on a lot of things politically, but, I'm glad that he has been so pro-environment. Seems like he's at least trying to do some good. So the movie brought us Schwarzenegger. It made James Cameron visible, which is what eventually leads to Aliens and several other movies that a lot of people like. I'm not huge on Titanic or Avatar, but I would say I'm a minority in the world.
Yeah, clearly.
Those movies have made tons of money.
A lot of people liked them, I think.
Yeah, and they're not poorly directed or anything.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So this movie just has this like huge legacy in my mind, and watching it again, not a ton of problems with it. So for me, this is like a 9, I would say.
I think that's extremely fair. I think that it tells its story and builds a world and builds a vision of the future and stuff in a very concise amount of time. I mean, especially considering like you and I have been watching all these Marvel movies that are all like 2.5 hours long and stuff.
And this
is movie
hour 45?
builds a lot. Yeah, it's not that long, and it really fleshes out a world that could exist without T2 and all the other sequels and stuff like that. While at the same time, it's like, even after it's over, even though it is, surface level, a big dumb action movie, at the end, you are left with those questions about, the paradoxes and stuff like we're talking about. You wonder about what happened to that iguana. I really wonder who her roommate was making that sandwich for post-coitus. Was she making the sandwich for herself or for the boyfriend? I don't know.
Well, yeah, that's a good question. We should have discussed that earlier in the podcast, because that's a 2-hour discussion itself.
It's a big one. I think that's something that really divides us and tells me a lot about your character, who you think she's making that sandwich for.
Yeah.
Also, why does she listen to music on her Walkman while she's banging her guy?
That's a weird one.
I mean, maybe that guy just sucks that bad. She's like, I gotta have something to fucking entertain myself. This guy fucking does his thing.
The dick is good, but the conversation's terrible, so
yeah.
I'm just gonna throw on some music.
Maybe the deal is, maybe what we didn't get is that while they bang, that guy has this weird habit of being like, ooh, ooh, baby, ooh. Like he just makes the worst noises. Ooh. She's like, I just gotta put on some music.
Jack A there.
Ooh, Mary. Ooh. I'm going out with the doctor tonight.
And hey, in that case, more power to her that she found a way to make her relationship work. I mean, she's just like, we're going to find a compromise. I'm just going to put some tunes on. We're still going to do this.
I love this
is just
guy,
what I need.
even though he turns into Jerry Lewis when we're having sex.
Waving, oh, pretty lady.
Lady. Maybe that was the deal. We'll never know. And also, too, just as a quick PS, how horror is that? Like, what a horror kill that they just got done banging. Yeah. And she goes off to the kitchen, and then this silent, menacing killer comes in and murders this guy. Like, when he crawls out of the bedroom and he's covered in blood from the broken glass and shit.
Yeah.
Come on, dude. That's a fucking Jason kill.
Yeah,
or a Mike Myers kill.
It's a Mike Myers kill. It's like opposite of Halloween with the guy going down to the kitchen and getting killed.
It is opposite.
Yeah. So similar to Halloween.
Yeah. Yeah, because like in Halloween, like remember he goes off to get a beer for old PJ Rourke or whatever, right?
PJ Souls, yeah.
Souls, there you go. Yeah, goes off to get a beer for her. Huh. It is
and then
exactly
he gets killed,
opposite.
and she, So it's just kind of reverses some of that. Yeah, but it's so slashery.
Yeah, totally, man. And that's what I love about it is like it still has, to me, the feel of a slasher in a lot of ways. Unstoppable killing machine. Yeah, great cast of a lot of really unknown people at this point. They definitely took some risks getting these people and putting them in this flick. I can't believe how much they did with so little. I mean, no big name actors. Minimal budget for special effects and stuff, and they knocked it out of the park. I think that in a world where T2 doesn't exist, where there is not a better vision of all of this stuff, I would probably give this a 10 as well.
Right.
But knowing that T2 is out there and T2 is a 10, I think this is a 9. I think that 9 is a very fair assessment of this movie. Extremely influential. It's one of those that we've known our whole lives. Like, if you've not seen it, you know it. You know I'll Be Back. You know Come With Me If You Want to Live. You know the metal skeleton. You know it all. It's just embedded in pop culture, movie culture, video game culture, everything. So, clearly a important piece of film history.
Fun fact about I'll Be Back. Arnold couldn't say I'll. And so...
Huh?
Yeah, he was having trouble saying I'll. So, he wanted to change it to I Will Be Back.
Really?
Which I think would have undercut. It would have never become the popular line with "I will be back." Like that just sounds so robotic. Whereas I'll be back. Like you're doing an Arnold impression, not a robot impression.
That's true. Interesting. Yeah, what a fucking awesome movie. Glad we got to do this one.
Yeah, me too.
I'm definitely excited about the flick that we're going to be doing on next week's episode because we're going to have ourselves a very special guest co-host on the show. That's right. It's a really fucking awesome dude who expanded my view of movies by starting our little pseudo movie club back in the college days. We'll tell the whole story about that next week, but yeah, this guy really introduced me to a lot of flicks, a lot of horror flicks. In particular, it's the first person that showed me the entire, Elm Street franchise and stuff like that, as well as exposing me to a lot of international flicks by directors I had never heard of, like Takashi Miike and all these other cats, as well as just being one of my nearest and dearest friends for the majority of my life. I've known this guy for so fucking long, and he's the best. And some of you Dead and Lovely listeners already know our good buddy Brandon Suttles because some of you guys have donated to his GoFundMe campaign to help pay for his bills. He is currently battling a extremely rare and very aggressive form of cancer. Absolutely kicking ass. I have no idea how how anybody can be as fucking tough as Brandon has been through this whole scenario, and how tough he's been for his wife and his kids and his family, his mom, his friends, everybody. I have no idea how anybody can be so fucking tough and stick around. But a lot of you guys have donated to his GoFundMe, and that has meant the world to me, just seeing you guys support one of my friends just based on the word that, me and Steve say, this guy's a great person.
Yeah.
Throw some money at him. It means a fucking ton to me.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it means the world to him as well. And our good buddy Brandon Suttles is going to be on the show next week, and we're going to be talking about a movie that I have never seen before, Steve.
The Changeling.
The Changeling.
Yeah, and not the Angelina Jolie, Clint Eastwood directed movie.
Not
but
that one.
The one with Patton in it.
Yeah, the Ode one. It's real Ode.
Why can't I remember his name? Fuck. Patton. Who played Patton?
Patton. That guy.
Damn it.
What is that guy's name? Fuck. It's contagious.
Something.
That guy. The guy you're shouting as you're sitting in traffic right now.
He played Ebenezer Scrooge.
George C. Scott.
George C. Scott. That's it.
That's the one. I got it. See, I was just waiting to see if our listeners got it. So
yeah, my wife was definitely screaming at the speakers, probably.
Yeah.
George C. Scott.
So I look forward to checking that one out and talking with Brandon. I'd love to do a little rundown of his top horror flicks and stuff like that too, to let our Dead and Lovely listeners get to know this fucking awesome guy. But I'm definitely excited about that. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's always fun having a guest. We've never done a long distance guest. Of course, we're still doing a long distance podcast due to quarantine and shit like that. So it should be fun.
Yeah,
it will be fun.
It will be. Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll get the what do you call it? Rhythm.
Yeah.
Going. Yeah.
And a little 1 and 2 and 3.
And it's 4.
That's the one. Yeah, rhythm.
Just fucking.
That's it.
Flawless timing.
You got it. We're gonna do it. So yeah, tune in next week where Brandon will be joining us talking about The Changeling. In the meantime, if you want to help support the show and also be able to submit a movie of your choosing for us to cover on the podcast on a later date, consider dropping us your money paper over on patreon.com/Dead
and Lovely. Head on over there.
That's right.
We also are on the interwebs on social medias, on the facebook.com/Dead and Lovely, on the Twitter and the Instagram @DeadLovelyPod. We're all over the place. You can find us here. You can find us there. You can find us everywhere.
We everywhere, y'all. So yeah, you guys be sure to track us down, show us some love, and support the show and all that other cool stuff. Stay in touch with us. And I hope that everybody out there is staying happy, healthy, wealthy, and keeping them fucking hands clean.
And your ass. Wash it.
And wear a fucking mask in public. God damn it. It's not hard. It's seriously
really
not
not
a big fucking deal,
really
guys.
Not. It's not. Just put a piece of cloth in front of your stupid face. And
it's a fucking spit guard, guys.
Into the cloth, and then the spit doesn't get into other people.
And it's not a big deal. That's the thing, dude. And it's like, yes, I understand if you're wearing a bandana around your face. Yes, the particle size of a virus can get through there. Yes, that's not the point. It's a spit guard. It keeps you from spitting all over everything while you.
The virus doesn't have wings. Yeah.
It's not hard. So do it. Do us a favor. Do that thing. And be sure to tune in next week for the next installment of Dead and Lovely. I have been Uncle Ben.
And I continue to be Hollywood Steve.
And so shall we be next week. We'll catch you guys then.
Bye.
Bye. We'll be back.
Banana.
This is appealing.
Banana. In a world where two dudes do a podcast,
oh my God,
they're sent back in time with one program to kill the other.
Holy shit.
Terminator 5, Dead and Lovely edition. What?
I'm at the edge of my seat.
Would that even be Terminator? How many Terminators are there? 6.
There's a lot. There's a handful of them.
That would be 7, maybe. Terminator 7. And we're getting Lena Headey back to play Sarah Connor from the Sarah Connor Chronicles.
Yeah.
Just
Who's
because I
playing
want to
me?
hang out with her. Oh,
Yes.
we're playing ourselves. It's
Oh, okay,
low
cool.
budget. It's
I'll work for
coming out
scale.
on VHS.
I'll do it. Straight to VHS. I like
Yeah.
that. Straight to beta.
Yep.